emergency. In real life, the same urgency can save lives, especially when it comes to a food allergy. For 33 million Americans, one bite can turn an ordinary meal into a life-threatening reaction. And too often, they don't have the one thing that could save them: epinephrine. But emergencies don't wait. And when a severe reaction happens, being prepared makes all the difference. Now, there's a needle-free option, a new way to carry epinephrine that makes it easier than ever to be ready. No needles, no hesitation, because when the unexpected happens, the best thing you can do is be ready. Know the risk, know the options. Be ready to act. Learn more at foodallergy.org/ready to act.
Breaking news, weather, entertainment, and sports. We have it all here. This is 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat. Now that we're in the second year of President Donald Trump's second term, our team of analysts at Bloomberg Intelligence is taking stock of how some of the administration's pushback against DEI is changing the business landscape. Despite an executive order from the administration last year targeting DEI, very few lawsuits have been filed. And according to Bloomberg Intelligence, that's partially because the executive order does not necessarily define what an illegal DEI policy is. Even so, companies have been careful not to try their luck. I spoke with Bloomberg Intelligence senior ESG analyst Rob Duboff.
At the end of the day, if the administration wants to say, hey, we see this, the Department of Justice has their Civil Rights Division. If they say, this particular DEI program, we think it's illegal, they have to go before a court and prove that case. The problem is that companies don't want to go down that route.
The administration's tough stance is having an impact and changing the conversation around diversity. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Time is valuable. That's why Lowe's Blueprint Takeoffs turn blueprints into quotes faster. Bring us your plans, and we'll generate itemized material lists to make quoting easier so you can get back to building. Plus, at the Lowe's Pro Desk, you get access to thousands of building materials not sold in store. And when your order's ready, we'll deliver everything to the job site. Improving is easy at Lowe's.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
He steps to the mic with a boom, ping, ping. Wisdom sharper than a beast's fierce sting. Words like fireflies that light the night. He turns the dark into blazing bright. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Shake the ground, unveils the truth where lies abound. Politics, justice, social streams. He molds the chaos into dreams. No silence here, just the sound of change. Boom, ping, ping, rearrange. Boom, ping, ping, the truth takes wing. Milwaukee's voice, let the city sing. Boom, ping, ping, hear the freedom ring. Sherwin's the king, all the airwaves king. Through the static, through the noise, he amplifies the people's voice. Boom, ping, ping, like a heartbeat's call. He's got the wisdom to break down walls. Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome to the program. Today is Friday, February 20th, 2026. Today we titled the show Accountability, and I'd love to have a discussion with you about it. Accountability takes a whole bunch of different forms. The specific form in which I am going to discuss with you is going to involve accountability when it comes to those people that we elect to serve us, people in very powerful positions that have the ability to do as individuals or as groups or as cabinets and cabinet secretaries and executive leadership to positively improve the lives of people. Now, my opinion and my definition is if you are in a very privileged position to represent the American people, your obligation is to represent those people that supported you, that voted for you. Now, there's some partisan politics involved. We know that. If you're a Republican and you got a lot of Republican support in the most recent election, well, you, of course, have to do right by those people that are your foundation and your base. But I think I see this other part that has been lost in modern politics, and it erodes accountability, and when accountability begins to erode at the very highest levels, it will go to nothing at the lowest. If you are a Republican and you get elected, and maybe it was a very close election, because a lot of times our elections are close, especially in battleground Wisconsin. That is why any amendment or change to our election laws or requiring additional information or documentation to voters in Wisconsin can have a marginal effect. Now, here's the thing. 99% of you had no problem producing an ID, getting a birth certificate, getting a state ID card, but a small percentage of people found that just too burdensome and they just didn't vote. That can be the decision in our election. So you got to be very mindful of that. Or if they put a very controversial question on the ballot or something that rises to the level of public interest. Some years ago, the Democrats were obsessed with putting advisory referenda on the ballot talking about marijuana legalization because the Democrats found that even Republicans and conservatives believed in Wisconsin. This is 10 years ago now. They haven't done much with it, but 10 years ago, the Democrats were like, oh, if we put this, do you want marijuana legalized in the state of Wisconsin or your city or your town or your county? Do you want that? Do you support that? And people believe that, oh, so many people that don't vote for candidates or don't vote for parties will show up and vote yes on these advisory referenda, not binding referenda, but advisory referenda on marijuana. And people did, and the Republicans still won. But it's just one of the many things that political parties will do to solidify additional votes and more support. But let me get back to accountability because we are going to talk about Robin Vos, the longtime assemblyman and speaker of the Wisconsin State Assembly, who has been at the helm for, oh, good Lord, a decade, maybe more. Who knows? Glad he's going. But his accountability was only to a very, very narrow stripe of people in the state of Wisconsin. And I want to make sure, because he's getting all these flowers, Robin Vos is. Got a list of some of the policies that he supported, that he authored, and that he pushed through the assembly that have done, in some cases, irreparable harm to the people in the city of Milwaukee. Milwaukee is the only Class A city this podunk state has. If it wasn't for us, it'd be cows. And I'm not talking about the bovines. I'm talking about fat people. Milwaukee makes Wisconsin what it is. We are the economic engine. We are the financial center. We are the home and the hub of travel and tourism. We got all the fun stuff here. Oh, and by the way, at 11 a.m., make sure you stay tuned for the Milwaukee Experience. It's a weekly segment that I do talking about all the incredible things there are to do in our great city. Stay tuned. But because the people in the city of Milwaukee prefer, more often than not, to vote for Democrats, Robin Vos and Republicans throughout the state legislature, including Ron Johnson, who's a U.S. Senator, do things and support things to punish the city of Milwaukee for a number of reasons. I'm using the most obvious reason by saying, oh, well, Milwaukee's a Democratic city, so why would any Republican support any policy that would make Milwaukee stronger. That's the accountability part. So if you're a Republican and you get elected, don't you want to do things that will encourage people that are not Republicans to want to vote for you? Because a lot of people have kind of thrown the idea of partisan politics away because they can see the dysfunction in both. A lot of people call themselves independents, or they'll say they're moderate, or they're issue voters. I totally get that. That makes sense to me. Sometimes one political party has got a really good idea, or they're capturing the moment, the political moment, or the social moment, and people will say, oh, I liked what the Democrats are saying this election cycle. Oh, I like what the Republicans are saying. There used to be a time where you would want to steal the other party's voters to expand your base, to make it easier for you and those like you and those of your party affiliation to get elected in the future. I'll give you an example, one that is very well known. And it insulated this man to such a degree that he maintains a level of his status even 35 years after he was first elected. 34 years. His name is Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton is even in the Epstein files. Not that big of a deal because that's not a shocker to anybody. Where else do we expect Bill Clinton to be? But I guarantee you he won't spend a moment in jail. None of them will. The only person that's likely to get locked up that's from America is Ghislaine Maxwell. And she's in a medium security, if you even call it that. She's basically at a country club. But she has the internet. She has television. She's got a tennis court, which is weird and unusual, don't you think? For a literal violent offender. She is in confinement with people that committed like tax fraud. We're going to talk about the Epstein stuff in a little while, but in a different kind of context, because I think that most people are looking for some accountability. No. Exposure to rich and powerful people is just like bad weather. It's just like, oh, this is slightly inconvenient, but you all know that bad weather passes. And that is exactly what they are doing. Donald Trump is about to get $10 billion of taxpayer money as a personal slush fund while he is named in files that associate him with pedophiles and things even worse than that. So accountability is going to be the theme of the day because I think we're looking at it wrong. So what Bill Clinton did when he was running for re-election in 1996 is he took a lot of the political bullet points and campaign platform items of Republicans, rolled them into his campaign, and he expanded his base just enough to where he won re-election over Bob Dole. Bill Clinton really corporatized the Democratic Party. For a long time, the Democratic Party was just like labor unions and working class folk. Bill Clinton was like, nah, we can work with corporations too, especially if that's where a steady stream of money for campaign contributions is going to come from. We will favor very wealthy, very powerful corporations. Why? Because the Republicans do. We should as well. Bill Clinton put, 100,000 more police on the streets. So I'm going to let you guess where those police went. Remember, the 1994 crime bill was signed in that year. Bill Clinton was running for re-election just 2 years later. So to follow up on this tough on crime stance, which we know is loved and favored by Republicans, Bill Clinton was like, we can be tough on crime too. We are going to build as many federal prisons and give states money if they build and expand their correction systems too, because, you got to be tough on crime because the Republicans are, so we might as well steal that from them. And it was a strategy that worked. We don't so much do that anymore. So Donald Trump, as an example, because he's the current president of the United States, is not someone who wants to incorporate political platform items and campaign agendas of Democrats to expand his base. Trump is beyond that. He is at a level where accountability does not matter because he did something very unique in American politics. Typically, when somebody runs for president, they're trying to bring everybody together. We hope and change, and there's nothing Americans can't do if we put our mind to it. That's Joe Biden stuff. And then Barack Obama is, we gotta have hope. The audacity of hope. There's no red America. There's no blue America. It's just the United States of America. Shut up, Barack. I love you, brother, but stop it. You know how the game works, but they have to appear as if they're unifying. What's the fellow? George W. Bush. September 11th was a terrible thing. We're going to unite as Americans. Somebody drop that flag banner behind me so I'll look even more patriotic. Somebody give me a flight suit so I can pose on the deck of an aircraft courier. Make it look like we won the war in 2006. They have this ethos of we're going to bring everybody together. In the grand scheme of things and in social psychological speak, you bring people together by focusing on a common enemy. As a nation, we used to have a common enemy, and it was the Soviet Union. It was the communist satellites in the orbit of the Soviet Union. It was that other nuclear threat that was Russia. Then it was communist China. We had this common enemy, and it engendered American patriotism. Even the movies that were coming out at the time, everything from Iron Eagle to Top Gun, and a lot of that stuff is financed by the Department of Defense to encourage this American patriotism because we have a common enemy. There's a period of time for like 20 years in America we just hated Muslims. Just hated them. We hated people that we thought maybe were Muslims, and turns out they weren't even Muslims. They were Sikhs. So as long as you have this common enemy, that does more to bring people together, this anger, this pointed anger, this scapegoating, than, oh no, let's all be one and sing Kumbaya and all hold hands. Donald Trump has perfected that. If you give me somebody to hate, I will follow you like a cult member. And that is what Trump has done. And I believe that has shirked accountability. I'm going to take a break. I'm going to come back. It's like when I take a break, it's like you're on a date with me and I'm going to the bathroom and maybe I'll come back, maybe I will not. I'm going to talk about Robin Vos, one of the most powerful speakers of the Wisconsin State Assembly in recent memory. He is opting not to run for re-election, and before some of you say, oh, he's not running for re-election because he would have lost in this big blue wave coming in November. No, he wouldn't have. He would have won still. I think he just got tired of it. He accomplished everything. And if you're a Republican, especially if you are a little old school, it's really, really hard to continue to support Donald Trump. It's just got to be difficult for some of them. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. Don't go anywhere. I'll be back shortly.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.
What would you do with $5,000?
Trying to look at buying me a pickup truck. That will be some of my down payment.
Stay tuned into 101.7 The Truth for your chance to be entered into the Gruber Law Office's 5K giveaway. For contest rules, visit 1017thetruth.com.
I love you guys.
I got money now.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Breaking news. U.S. Supreme Court strikes down Donald Trump's tariffs and say that they are illegal, which we knew from the beginning. And here's the unfortunate thing about that. Congress knew they were illegal, but they let him do it anyway. They let him tank the economy anyway because they're not scared of him. They like who Donald Trump has demonized and scapegoated. Because if I can blame illegals and blame Mexicans, and I don't know who they're blaming everybody for the downfall of America, then they don't have to take any accountability for the bad policies that they have supported for decades. Does that make sense to you? Oh, it's not my fault. I'm a bad senator. No, I'm not a bad member of Congress. It's the Mexicans. And Americans are like, really? It's the Mexicans? And Congress is like, yeah. And we were like, all right, then, I guess it's the Mexicans. Deport them or detain them or whatever, because if they're the reason why. If you give people, no, seriously, this is an unfortunate thing. You have to be careful when When someone is running for office or they're trying to get public support and they're demonizing other human beings, they're building a cult. Because we love to collectively hate something. We have to hate something because then it makes us feel better about how miserable our lives are, even though our lives were probably made miserable by their bad policies in the first place. So they're never going to take responsibility and accountability for that. They're just going to tell you who to blame and who to hate. And America is built on division. If you really, really, really think about it, we're literally built on division. Borders are division. The border between us and Mexico, us and Canada, been reading some things. None of it has reached the level of what you all would call mainstream media, and I know that you all hate mainstream media. Donald Trump did that to y'all. There was a period of time where somebody named Walter Cronkite, most people don't know who the hell he is, if he said something on the nightly news, politicians would panic. When Walter Cronkite said, in, maybe 1968, give or take, that the Vietnam War was unwinnable, the Vietnam War at that moment became unwinnable. So now all of a sudden we hate the mainstream media, and they used to be the only source of honesty, decency, truth, and objective fact to the American people. And because they stood as that, Donald Trump demonized them, and now you have people on the left and on the right not believing the media. So when people say things in the media, it's very easily dismissed. I take tremendous offense to that because we are the only beacon that we have of promoting honesty, truth, and fact. Because you can't trust anybody that's running for office, especially if their political power comes from scapegoating a group, telling you who you need to hate. But we used to trust the media, and all of a sudden, you can't trust the media. But there's this thing I've been seeing. I'm trying to find some credible sources of it. Canada has essentially closed their airspace to the United States, and because of the way Earth is shaped, if you fly from the contiguous 48 to like Japan, or you fly other international to destinations, you fly through Canada, the UPS and FedEx, they use Canadian airspace to deliver packages with planes. They said that Canada, because they're tired of Donald Trump, them closing Canadian airspace to American commerce is bankrupting American airlines. And if you had a flight, let's say booked to Japan, it's going to cost thousands of dollars more and create more layovers if American Airlines and other international airlines cannot fly over Canada. It's going to bankrupt the airlines, and they did that by signing a piece of paper, and there's nothing that Trump can do about it. So more on that later, but since the mainstream media hasn't talked about it, but also whatever you consider mainstream media, they're afraid of Trump. Because with networks firing Jimmy Kimmel and you have the Washington Post now becoming an extension of Donald Trump, you can't rely on the big corporate news like you could because they're afraid of the president. Don Lemon getting arrested, which nothing's going to happen to Don Lemon. He was covering a story. But they wanted to send a message that even if you cover something that could potentially make this administration's policies look egregious, illegal, unconstitutional, or faulty, they'll indict you. It's just what it is, though, is it's going to make Don Lemon spend a whole bunch of money. He's going to have to get a whole bunch of lawyers. Nothing is going to happen, and they know that. It's a total waste of American taxpayer resources, but they're using it as an intimidation tactic. And doesn't that make you think, just for a second? I know some people don't like to think because it's hard. If Trump is trying to demonize media by calling it all fake news, isn't that more reason to trust it? You got to do the opposite of what this guy is saying. If he hates something, that's probably something you should love. If he hates immigrants, like, oh, wow, maybe immigrants are the ones that actually are doing things in this country and creating things and paying into a social security system in which they will never reap a benefit because we can control who becomes a citizen and who does not. Folks want to come over here and work and pay into a system. Here's something else you need to know for those of you that think you're going to get Social Security. If you're under 50, if you're under 40, forget it. You're going to pay in forever, but you may never collect it. So we're at a point now where, and don't worry, I'm going to get to Robin Voss. He ain't going nowhere yet. We have, I think it's 3 people, or we're fast approaching. It's 3 and 10 are the 2 numbers I want you to remember. For every 10 people that are receiving Social Security benefits, there are only 3 people working and paying in, and that's not sustainable. So we need a robust American economy, if for no other reason, so we can have people contributing to this thing called FICA, the Federal Insurance Contribution Act. You know, when you get your check, most of y'all don't even look at your check stubs. I don't either. I just, every so often on a different date, twice a month, money appears in my account. And I'm just like, oh, cool. But I don't look at the check stubs. So you're paying this thing called FICA, the Federal Insurance Contribution Act, and that's your contribution to the Social Security. And because people are living longer, it was never expected that people would be collecting Social Security at 65 and then living until 90. Some people are collecting Social Security for more years than they actually worked and contributed, so that's not sustainable either. So what we need is a lot of people working in all sorts of different places and spaces and jobs and vocations. We just need people working. We need more people working, and more Americans are getting old, and more Americans are retiring. So we have to open the border if you guys want to continue to get Social Security, because we're on an unsustainable system, and they know that. And by closing the border, because when you detain somebody, they're not working, not paying into Social Security. And the crazy thing is, they were saying like, oh, these migrants are just lazy. Coming over here, getting all these benefits from the taxpayers. You know where they used to round people up before they went into cities and went into Minneapolis? They go to Home Depot. Bunch of Mexican dudes hopping out of a cargo van, going, getting supplies for their under-the-table cash, landscaping jobs, or working for legitimate companies, whatever the case may be. But that right there, it was in our faces, too. How can you tell the American people that these folks are coming over here to this country and not working, but you're catching them at Lowe's while they're going to get supplies for the work they're actually doing? It's amazing what Americans will believe. It's disheartening, because if you give someone an enemy, they'll be loyal to you. And I don't know what we need to do to steer away from that, but it's making America even worse. Major controversial policies that have marred Milwaukee that were supported, authored, or lobbied by outgoing Assembly Speaker Robin Voss. He blocked Milwaukee's ability to stabilize its finances, shared revenue, and the sales tax referendum. Robin Voss forced Milwaukee to hold a referendum to raise a local sales tax needed to avoid severe service cuts, while giving other cities more generous funding increases without similar constraints. His plan restricted how Milwaukee could use its own money, limiting spending to pensions and policing, excluding transit, excluding infrastructure, think lead pipes, and economic development. This worsened Milwaukee's structural budget crisis and deepened long-term service instability. I'm just going to stop right there. If you are upset that we still have lead water laterals that are poisoning our children still to this day and wondering why we don't have the money, thank Robin Voss. If you are wondering why we had to increase our sales taxes 2.2% in the city of Milwaukee and other cities, there's this town, I commented on it because I had this whole list of cities. There were some cities that got a 1,000% increase in shared revenue. We got maybe 10%, and then the rest of the money is coming out of our pockets. That is how much Robin Voss hated Milwaukee. It was almost personal for him. When you make taxpayers have to shell out more money, that further reduces people's incomes as rent is going up and the price of food and groceries is going up. I'm sure gasoline is expensive. I wouldn't know. I haven't bought gasoline in a long time. Another thing Robin Voss did, intentionally giving Milwaukee less state aid than other cities. Voss supported a shared revenue deal that gave Milwaukee a smaller percentage of funding increases than most Wisconsin municipalities, despite Milwaukee having the largest infrastructure burden, poverty rate, and service demand. So here's an example. we have more people. I'm looking at the county because the county kind of got screwed because it's a Democratic county. I think 65 to 70% of Milwaukee County will vote for Democrats pretty much in any election, which puts a really heavy burden on smaller counties and more rural areas where they may vote in the 90+% for Republicans, but their populations are so small they can barely compete with Milwaukee voting 65% for Democrats. So it's a math thing. If we have more houses, let's say we have 500,000 homes, dwellings in Milwaukee County. It's probably more than that. Think about how much property tax money that is. If we have, at any one point in time, 1 million people in Milwaukee County, just hanging out, just kicking it, 940,000 people live here. But at any point in time, another 20,000 or 30,000 might come in from Dodge County or Ozaukee County or Washington County or, God forbid, Racine County, because they're coming here to work, they're coming here to shop, spending money. 1 million people, 500,000 houses, all paying property taxes, people coming here to spend money, go to restaurants, rent cars, get hotel rooms. The tax revenue that is generated from Milwaukee allows for other smaller counties that don't have the same social infrastructure. It allows them to survive. Milwaukee brings in so much money to the state of Wisconsin, we can fund entire school districts in northwestern Wisconsin. But when we ask for some of that money back so we can, fix the city, work on social issues, pave our roads, plow the snow, pick up the garbage, the Republicans that control the state budget said, no, we're going to starve you. And we begin to see the dilapidation of Milwaukee. And what do? The Republicans are so much smarter. And they communicate better because their communication is much more consistent. They will take our money invested in small, tiny, rural areas, give them 1,000% increase in shared revenue, while Milwaukee starves, our city starts to fall apart. And what do? Blame black leadership and blame Democrats. That's what we do. When the Republicans have the majority in the state legislature, they control our money, even though we bring in the money. And it's genius because we then see all this black leadership that we have and we blame them just because we have a black mayor and a black county executive. If the Republicans control the Senate and the Assembly, they set the tone of how much money we get. Now, Tony Evers can veto stuff, but that still doesn't bring us more of our money. Because the Republicans will compromise and say, okay, look, Milwaukee, we'll give you a 10% increase in shared revenue. And Milwaukee would say, no, we want 40%. Fine. We'll give you 10%, and you have to add cops to MPS schools. And you have to have a mandatory number of police officers in the city of Milwaukee. Or if you don't have that number, we're going to take more of your shared revenue, and they enshrine that into Act 12. Act 12 is almost like the Project 2025 version of Wisconsin legislation. So you know what Robin Vos did by requiring us to not just put police officers in MPS schools, which nobody wanted. In fact, the school board kicked the MPD out of MPS back in 2016 because we didn't need them because they were just causing more problems. Not only do we have to have police officers in 25 schools, we have to maintain a higher number of sworn police officers on our force as a matter of state law. And if we do not do that, we're going to lose our meager increase in shared revenue. But here's what that does. When you increase the number of police, you strengthen their union. And the police union, the power that they have. Justice is the last thing on their mind. They represent their members, which are, of course, the sworn men and women who are protecting and serving in Milwaukee. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Do you hear that? And that. And that. Those are the sounds of a healthy and vibrant community. And to this United Way volunteer, nothing sounds better. They're the sounds of children being given greater chances to succeed in school. The sounds of neighbors receiving the support needed to overcome challenges, both big and small. They're the sounds of families gaining access to quality health care and nutritious food for their tables. And they're the sounds of members of our community who've benefited from United Way's financial education programs. See, wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. People working together to respond and growing the good for everyone. United is the way. So join us by getting involved or giving back. Learn more at unitedway.org.
70 million people in the U.S. have learning and thinking differences, like ADHD and dyslexia. Each has their own story. This is ours. At first, I thought it was just a phase. Then schoolwork became a struggle. Emotions got bigger, and my kids started falling behind. I felt alone, like I was lost in the dark trying to find answers. Then I learned about Understood.org, a nonprofit empowering parents and kids like us. It was like we had a light to show us the path ahead. Whenever new challenges came up, their guidance helped us figure out our next step. We still have tough days, but now we have direction. And I have the tools and resources I need to help my child thrive. No matter where you are on the path, Understood can help you keep moving forward. Visit understood.org/yourpath today.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Desperado, sitting in a old Monte Carlo, a man whose heart is hollow.
Y'all are mad about the Summerfest lineup, huh? Been hearing a few of my colleagues get a little hot under the collar because, black people or something. How many black acts do y'all want? Because if you get too many of them, it kind of changes stuff. There's more of a business reason why there are fewer African-American acts at Summerfest that some would like. But also, let's say that they had more. And I don't know what amount of African-American entertainers at Summerfest. You know, that 9-day music festival billed as the largest music festival in the world. I'm not sure how many acts would have the community satisfied. But the people that would complain about us not having enough African-American musical talents at Summerfest aren't going anyway. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to have a conversation. Also, I think it just adds to the perception that a lot of people have. They can't always articulate. As a black person, it's really hard to articulate how Milwaukee is and the separation and the segregation and us being kept out of the opportunity rooms and the board rooms where decisions are made. And a lot of the decisions that are made, socially and politically about the black community, there's not many African Americans seated at those tables, and the black people that are seated at those tables are not the ones that we would pick. Those are the ones that are friendly to white people and the ones that don't intimidate white people. So black people are not thoroughly and fully represented. And we don't always articulate that, but we can see it and we can feel it. And also, consider this. They ordered the flags to be flown at half staff when Charlie Kirk was killed. Jesse Jackson was a multi-generational civil rights icon that was friends with Donald Trump. And not only is Jesse Jackson's body not lying in state, even George W. Bush had Rosa Parks lying in state. Or was it Obama? When did she die? Either way, civil rights icons need to be laying in the Capitol Rotunda because they're American heroes. Not even half-mast flags for Jesse Jackson. And we see stuff like that, and then anything else that looks like it's racially unbalanced, we point it out. Like, that's offensive. Because Trump even posted on Truth Social. One of the ways in which he bonded with Jesse Jackson is Jesse Jackson didn't like Barack Obama. He put that on his Truth Social post. And Trump had all sorts of black friends. I don't know what y'all thought. Because money and power is like a magnet. And black people love money and power. We do. We glorify celebrities and wealth and all that other stuff. So don't be shocked that Donald Trump had probably like really good African-American friends, or at least transactional relationships. But the fact that, because it would have made Trump either look bad or look weak or look inauthentic, because you have to scapegoat people. And black people are being scapegoated by Donald Trump policies, not just Latinos, Hispanics, and people that are here illegally or whatever. But that just shows how far politics will go, where it will literally, pun intended, trump somebody's common sense. Like, dude, Donald Trump, one of your guys died. Donald Trump and Jesse Jackson have known each other for 50 years. And he died. And Trump posted something on Truth Social, but nope. Charlie Kirk. Jesse Jackson was making history and moving the needle forward for African Americans 25, 30 years before Charlie Kirk was even born. I'm just using that as an example because I have to point these examples out to explain why there's like a generalized anger and discontent amongst some African Americans. So we'll look at something like Summerfest and say like, oh, see, look at, there they go, not having enough black acts for us. I don't want to get into that now because I got a lot to say about that. In fact, we're going to talk about Summerfest during the Milwaukee experience. I'll be hyping this segment up. The last few segments, they were kind of boring. I think this was going to be a little better because we have a photograph. Oh, I got to send you the picture, Xavier. We're going to have a background now for the Milwaukee experience. Don't worry, it's growing. It's getting there. And at some point, I'm going to have guests. I haven't had a guest in the studio for a long time. Do you guys want me to interview people? Should I interview people? Who do I even want to talk to? I mean, there's going to be plenty of time for interviews, but also it isn't easy getting people in this building. They have to go through a corn maze. You got to pass a background check. They got to give a little blood. They got to give a hair sample. They have to get their shoe size measured. There's a retinal scan. There's a whole bunch. It's just a lot. Because you know how we used to do it, X. I mean, yeah, I'll just come through the side door and just sneak on in the studio. Ooh, they clamped down on that.
Yeah, didn't you have like some lady come in, sneak in on you?
It wasn't because of that. They didn't care about that. She came to my house. She was wearing like a whole costume, and they just let her in. That wasn't me. People just, whoever our security is here, like, oh, here's a crazy black lady wearing Cruella de Vil is what she was dressed as, and it wasn't Halloween, and they just let her in. And she's like, oh, yeah, I'm here.
Literally dressed as her?
Yes. And she's like, yeah, I'm here to see Sherwin. And they didn't have her name on anything, and they just sent her downstairs. First of all, she was just walking around Good Karma Brands, both floors, dressed as Cruella de Vil. And people here saw her, and they're like, oh, she must be here to see Sherwin. Like, what do y'all think of me that a woman wearing that costume is here to see me? So she was at this door right here. Zach opened the door because she's like, oh, I'm here to see Sherwin. Zach didn't know. And she came in and sat down on the microphone. And I thought it was hilarious, right? I was like, well, what the hell? Why not? It was probably a Friday. I didn't really care much about whatever we were talking about. We weren't talking about anything serious. And so whatever, I had a conversation with her. Oh, she was here to pick up tickets. That's what it was. She wants some Summerfest tickets or something. And I had made mention that I had not yet received my Summerfest tickets from the radio station. So she took it upon herself to pick her Summerfest tickets up, and then she wanted to give them to me. But she didn't give them to me here when she was in the studio. She later came to my house. And when I say I had a fit, because don't come to my house unannounced. Don't do that. And so I recorded the interaction of this woman coming to my house, which I did not take too kindly. And so when I posted it to let folks know, like, yo, doing this job sometimes comes with hidden risks that you all don't see. People will come to your house and disturb your privacy. You know how stupid some people are? Some stupid, lonely men were like, oh, Sherwin, if a woman will come to my house, I'd let her in. Dude, go masturbate. You're disgusting. Like, why would you do that? And here's what made it so bad. That woman's an MPS teacher. Ain't that wild?
How does she know where you live?
It's not hard to find out. It's, you know how easy it is to find. It's not hard to find an address.
I don't know. I guess I'm not crazy.
Yeah, it's not difficult to find somebody's address. But I think she's lucky I handled it the way that I did. But so here's the other problem. So we had a Beyond the Mic event scheduled, and we were concerned that she would show up there. And I felt bad about this because this is the reason why I don't want to do Beyond the Mics anymore, because there's too much. Like, security obviously is a protocol. We got to make sure that everybody is safe. And there's a crazy lady showing up at the radio station and a crazy lady also showing up in my house. Well, why wouldn't she show up to an event that we were using open airwaves to support and to promote? That ain't smart, because you never know who's listening. I assure you of that. You never know what crazy person wants to assassinate you that happens to be listening in their car right now, plotting my demise. So we put a disproportionate amount of the security burden on the venue, and I don't want to do that anymore. If we're going to have an event that I'm associated with, whether it's 101.7 The Truth or not, I don't want to be a security burden to any business that already has to worry about security. Because if you got a liquor serving establishment in this city, you are rolling the dice every second of every day that you are open, and I don't want to be associated with that.
Will you be at the thing today?
What thing today?
I thought there's some company event going on today, I guess.
You don't get me in trouble. They got mad at me because I really regret not being able to make it. I do. I wish I could attend, but I am previously engaged and I have other things going on and personal things. I wish I could go, but I'm unable to attend that.
You're a busy guy.
I didn't go last year, and for the duration, so every time I saw somebody for all of 2025, if they saw me somewhere out in public, they're like, Sherwin, I bought a ticket to the Truth Awards to see you, and you weren't there. I'm very angry. I'm mad at you. And I don't want people in this city mad at me, because the people that listen to me, y'all are my friends, you're my family members, you're my neighbors. I'm in it with you. I live in the hood where y'all live. I'm right there with you. And so I don't want to disappoint people that are gracious enough to take time out of their day to listen to my program. So this year I made it known that, like, I'm not going to be there. So if you're going to buy a ticket to see me, don't get mad at me when you see me somewhere out in these streets. And then, people got a little, but I get it, right? Because I guess the way it came off is like, nanny boo boo, I'm not going to be there. No, I can't be there. I don't, you know what I mean? I can't. Are you going?
I'm not getting paid to be there. Plus, there's a basketball game. I do the sports here.
Oh, so you're already working.
Correct.
You're not supposed to say you're not getting paid to be there. You're supposed to say that you love it and you want to be a part of celebrating our community and unsung heroes.
Truth and honesty here.
I'm going to take a break for you, get everybody fired. Still talking about Robin Voss, who intentionally gave Milwaukee less state aid than other cities. He's not running for re-election. He is the longtime Republican, very conservative Wisconsin Assembly Speaker who has been quoted as saying, the Assembly always wins. Well, now maybe the rest of us will get to win because Robin Voss is stepping down. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. The award-winning 101.7 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. All month long, we're honoring the voices, the stories, and the achievements that have shaped our past, empowered our present, and continue to inspire our future. Tune in for Dr. Ken's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know, and Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories, amplifying the youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Tune in all month long as 101.7 The Truth lifts up the legacy, the brilliance, and the power of Black history. Because Black history isn't just history, it's happening every day. 101.7 The Truth's celebration of Black History Month is proudly sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law. Celebrating Black excellence, celebrating our history. All month long on 101.7 The Truth.
Life's better with American Family Insurance because we know you love working weekends. If it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
How much does it cost to talk to Gruber Law Offices after a serious crash? It's free. Yes, free. As in, it won't cost you anything to speak with us. Not sure if you have a case? Call our team at Gruber Law Offices today. Your first call and your first consultation are always free. And you'll never pay us a fee until we win your case. If you've been seriously injured, call Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Day by day, feel it start to fade, left away, and look the other way.
Robin Vos announced yesterday he is not seeking re-election to the Wisconsin State Assembly, and that could be a tremendous relief, especially if the Democrats are able to flip. I don't know how many seats they need. Enough, that's for sure, 10, 15 seats, where the Democrats become the majority in the Assembly, and then they will have a disproportionate amount of impact on the legislative agenda for the state of Wisconsin. And we hope that the Democrats will create policies that favor the economic viability of Milwaukee, because the more people that are working here, the more people that are lifted out of poverty here, the more people that are paying income taxes here, the better off we all are. And then hopefully some agreements can be adjusted where we can get more of our money back for us to be able to invest in the social and the other infrastructures here in the city of Milwaukee. That is what I'm hoping. But with Robin Vos at the helm, a lot of those things simply were not possible. Robin Vos blocked Medicaid expansion and postpartum coverage for women, disproportionately hurting Milwaukee. Blocked full Medicaid expansion, costing Wisconsin billions in federal funds. He personally blocked postpartum Medicaid expansion, even though the bill had overwhelmingly bipartisan support. Milwaukee, with higher black maternal mortality and poverty rates, is disproportionately harmed by these decisions. It directly affected maternal mortality, infant health, emergency health care access, hospital uncompensated care costs, and Robin Vos intentionally blocked those resources. Robin Vos restricted Milwaukee's use of its own sales tax. Imagine if some of y'all are going to get $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 back in your earned income tax credit, your tax return, which makes no sense to me how any of y'all are still broke. Give me $7,000 back on my taxes. I'll be a different person. So imagine Milwaukee paying in all of these taxes, right? Overpaying, quite honestly. Property taxes, income taxes, sales taxes, all that mess goes to Madison, you see. Well, some of it. And imagine getting no return or getting a tiny, itty-bitty tiny tax return. I think a lot of people around here, when you look at it personally, they are used to getting more back in a federal income tax return than they ever even paid in federal income taxes in the first place. Milwaukee's in a similar situation, but we get a smaller share. Milwaukee don't get no earned income tax credit back from Madison. In fact, if Republicans are in control, they steal our money and they give it to their small little rural districts. But that's our money because that income is generated here. Those taxes are generated here. Our restaurants, our bars, our hotels, when you rent a car, there's all those extra taxes. Madison gets that money, and if Madison is controlled by Republicans, they leave us out in the cold. Voss explicitly banned Milwaukee from spending its sales tax revenue on public transit, including the streetcar, and diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives. Robin Voss undermined DEI and affirmative action programs and the major impact on Milwaukee's black population. Voss has been a leading voice behind legislation and budget provisions eliminating DEI offices, minority scholarships to colleges and universities, and all affirmative action frameworks hitting Milwaukee's black population center the hardest. Robin Voss blocked increased funding for public education and Department of Public Instruction. He repeatedly blocked funding increases for the Department of Public Instruction, harming Milwaukee Public Schools, the largest and the poorest school district in Wisconsin. This exacerbated teacher shortages, classroom overcrowding, and achievement gaps. I got so much more stuff on this list. I'm not going to be able to get through all of it, but just think about how these incremental things create more and more harm in the city of Milwaukee. And here's the kicker. Black folks in Milwaukee blame black leadership for the things that the Republicans did. That is a perfect storm. And what it does is it erodes African Americans' confidence in voting for Democrats. Doesn't mean that black folks go vote for Republicans. Some do. Some do, because the narrative of look at your community, it's all gross and broken down, and then look who all your elected officials are. They're a bunch of Democrats. Don't vote for them. Vote for us, the Republicans, even though the Republicans are responsible for how our community looks. It's amazing the mind trick that they do. Robin Voss forced costly, politicized election investigations based in Milwaukee media market, so he participated in the fake election fraud election scandal that Donald Trump was promoting in 2020. He blocked legalized marijuana, maintaining policing disparities in Milwaukee. Voss remains a primary obstacle to marijuana legalization. Milwaukee suffers disproportionately high black arrest rates for marijuana despite similar usage rates across the state. Still to this day in Wisconsin, if you get caught with marijuana a second time, it is a felony. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 2.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This Black History Moment is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law.
Milwaukee has a rich history of black leaders who have broken barriers and shaped the city. Today, let's learn about Vel Phillips. Vel Phillips, a trailblazing civil rights leader who became the first black woman to graduate from UW-Milwaukee Law School, the first black person on the Milwaukee Common Council, and the first woman and black person to serve as Wisconsin judge. Vel has many other accolades to add to that, but if you've ever had the opportunity to meet Vel in person, you'll know that her personality was brilliant. A Milwaukee icon, a true trailblazer, Vel R. Phillips.
This Black History Moment is sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
I missed a lot of school during treatment, and LLS helped me keep up.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
Join the movement. Listen to The Tori Lowe Show on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, the locally owned Good Karma brand station. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 2 of The Truth with yours truly, Sherwin Hughes. People in the YouTube chat saying, yeah, Sherwin, do your job and interview people. And then somebody said I should interview Ben and Carrie. You know, Ben was here at the market hall, standing right outside the window here about, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, give or take. And I wanted to let him in so bad because nobody had heard from him in a while. And he was here. I don't know what he was here for. Maybe having lunch. Who knows what he was here for. But I wanted to, if I did that, if I interviewed someone who was once here and then is no longer here, that may ruffle some feathers. So I inquired. I was like, would it be okay if I brought Ben in? They were like, can't do that. And
why not?
You kidding me? I got coworkers here, and I'm fine to say it. They hate my guts. I'm always walking on thin ice here. They hate my guts. And I know this because coworkers have told me that, which I get it. You know what I mean? Because I do things.
You don't say anything crazy.
No, that has nothing to do with it. It's because I say things that make sense, and and I'm not afraid to say this either. The community that I have been speaking to has allowed me to have a career of my dreams, and so that's where my loyalty must be prioritized. I live here. This is my city. I've been committed to this city. I've worked for politicians and elected officials, and I've helped raise almost $1 million for black women and for Democrats to get elected and make this city more palatable to people that look like me. And also, when history looks back on the moments in which I was here, I want them to be able to read something positive about me. Okay? So that's where my loyalties are. Some folks don't get that. And it's not their fault. But then that means I am guided by principles that are larger than what I may happen to be doing for a living, right? I'm guided by principles that support my community. And I have been a sacrificial lamb more times than I can count, but also consider that a badge of courage, you know what I mean? A badge of honor. Because black people have done for me what white people didn't even think black people could ever do for one another. And so I love y'all, and y'all have been there for me. Turning Sherwin, little radio show on. Got a guy right here in the chat that said, I just wanted to say, this is from Hooligan and Rogue Films. Oh, are you a filmmaker, sir? Hooligan and Rogue Films said, I just wanted to say, have a good weekend and thank you for your show. I'm a truck driver from Green Bay and I'm in Milwaukee several days a week. You have opened my eyes, sir. Well, thank you, Hooligan and Rogue Films. That is the point. But the content I create that opens more people's eyes makes me an evil demon in other people's eyes because they want us dumb. Which, that's their whole MO, though. But, like, how does that even work? Like, how am I going to have conversations with my people, which I've been having for 20 years almost? I'm not going to be focused on a narrow band of content. I want people in a battleground state, in the most important city in this battleground state, to be as informed as possible about everything. You can call black people a lot of stuff, but you're going to stop calling us ignorant and dumb. You can call us anything else you want, but you ain't going to call us ignorant, because we are going to know more than those who are trying to keep us behind. You understand it? Because that's how we win. Knowledge. But, you know, that don't sit well with some people. If you want to make black people smarter, then we become independent. And that's regardless of what political affiliation people have. If we become independent because we have knowledge and we know how the system works, then they can no longer threaten us. It's our belief in the system of oppression, and we believe that. Some people think, like, oh, black people will never get ahead. When you believe that, they win. You guys have heard me say some things, like repeating things, like if you haven't done so already, go to youtube.com or open up your YouTube app from your smartphone or other mobile device, search 1017 The Truth or The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, whatever you fancy. Hit subscribe and you'll be able to view the live stream of not just my show, but all of the shows across our 11-hour lineup. And you'll be able to participate in the very fast-moving YouTube chat. That's something you hear me say repeated very often. You also hear me say that the opposite of poverty is not wealth, it is justice. In this country, justice is conditional. If it wasn't for global protests and 9 minutes and 43 seconds worth of footage, Derek Chauvin would still be a police officer on the Minneapolis police force, or he would be with ICE. I'm not sure which one would be worse. But people like George Floyd don't get any justice. People like Trayvon Martin don't get any justice, because if you are associated with poverty, you don't get justice. Justice is for those that can afford it, and those that can buy it, and those that are so incredibly wealthy and untouchable that they can create their own sense of justice. This kind of brings me to the Jeffrey Epstein debacle, because a lot of folks think like, oh my God, there was a list of people and we're finding out who's on the list, and then those people are going to be held to account. No, they're not. Because if they aren't, what are you going to do about it? I'm going to give you a couple of examples here, because I don't want to disappoint you. I want people to still have belief in fairness and justice, but our system is not set up that way. In America, we don't have a mechanism to stop or control or to rein in or to hold accountable powerful white men. The mechanism doesn't exist. We can maybe like take them down a notch, but holding them accountable, impossible. What Jeffrey Epstein did is he tested the upper limits of accountability of how far they can go. And it was raping and killing kids. And they said, oh, that's too much. So instead of holding all of the people accountable that made that happen, all the harm that was done, because most of the women are still here and their names have been exposed. But isn't it crazy that the redactions were the men that harmed these women? Now, a couple of the names were unredacted, mostly by accident, because the Department of Justice has lost so many people under Donald Trump that they don't have the man hours and the woman hours to redact millions and millions of pages. So some of the stuff slipped through. But we don't have the mechanism to hold these people accountable. Donald Trump is doing whatever he wants to do. And I know you see it, because there is no mechanism to stop him. You don't believe me? He has 34 felonies. He committed the most egregious election fraud in history. He encouraged and supported a coup, and what happened? He got elected again, and he is worse. Jeffrey Epstein and Donald Trump, the fact that they were friends makes an awful lot of sense, but what Epstein did is he tested exactly how far powerful people can go, and they said, oh, Jeffrey, that's enough, and then they, all right, we got to indict you a second time. But then the threat of him exposing people is what took his life, and he didn't take his life. He was killed, and you know that. Because he might have made people look bad. But also know this. We, as regular, normal people, think that exposure is is the end of it. Like, oh, once we uncover these names, then they're going to be exposed. No, for regular, not powerful people, exposure is the end for all of us, not for them. Exposure is, and I was telling X this earlier, exposure is for them, it's just like bad weather. It'll pass. And it will. It will pass. If any of us did this, or even if Barack Obama, notice he wasn't on Epstein Island because he wasn't considered one of the most powerful and most elite because he's black, even though he is a former president. And there's a very unique grouping of individuals that Barack Obama has access to only because he was president. It's almost like a real weird fraternity of men. But some of the other things that they do, Barack Obama wouldn't be invited to those circles because he is now protected and inoculated by this super wealthy, super powerful group of international people. And so the whole thing with Jeffrey Epstein, they weighed the cost. Okay, if we bring this Epstein guy down and we expose everybody, and if we do the right thing, and if justice is blind and we indict everybody and we bring evidence and bring federal cases against all of these people, what will happen if we did that? If we did the right thing, indicted all of the people, all the names that we know, all the names that we don't know, including former presidents, what would happen if we pursued all of these very powerful individuals? You know what would happen? The system would collapse. It was a cost-benefit analysis. The cost of indicting these very powerful people would be so high that the system itself would implode, and therefore, because the Department of Justice, you guys are right, they've known about the list for decades. They've known about it. They've known all the names. They've known everything. And they looked at it and they said, well, we can't indict these people. Think about how many government servers. I'm talking about podunk towns, municipalities, cities, counties, states. How many departments in the federal government, including the cell phones that are used by government officials, including the military, that run on a Microsoft server? You indict Bill Gates and all of a sudden, well, we can't use Microsoft anymore because Bill Gates is in the Epstein files. Government would collapse because it's built on his technology. You got to think about this now. So, Bill, we're gonna expose you. And he was just like, it's going to be inconvenient for a while. But we're still using Microsoft anyway. Because true justice would be like, oh, Bill Gates is a monster. He's in the Epstein files doing whatever. He should no longer be able to do business with America or with international markets. And for the system that we live in, the cost was too great. So you're not going to indict him. You're going to expose him to let him know that, hey, buddy, we have to do this. We gotta put your name out there. He's like, all right, you guys still going to renew your contract with Microsoft's digital servers for your IRS department? And the government was like, well, of course we are. All right, then, well, I guess you guys can expose me. They weighed the cost of indicting these people. And there's no mechanism to hold very powerful men accountable. There isn't. Jeffrey Epstein just took it. He went a little too far. And you know what I think he did? He tried to blackmail the wrong person. He went too far. He got too big for his britches because they let him get away with all this stuff. And he crossed somebody. We'll never know the details of it, but I don't want people to think like, ooh, this list is coming up. They've already had the list. They've known the list. But indicting those people would collapse our entire system, not just in America, but globally. So for those of us that are waiting for the other shoe to drop, the shoe dropped decades ago. Now, here's what you need to be concerned about, because it's always a cost-benefit analysis. If there's people doing really bad stuff, as bad as what we saw in the Epstein files, some of the stuff is real, some of it is not, and they said it's too costly to indict these people because so much would collapse. If we indict these billionaires, then the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, the RNC and the DNC would end up getting $300, $400, $500, $600 million less dollars for their campaigns. Well, then you can't indict that billionaire because it will collapse the political parties. Right? So they're never going to bring that person to justice because they do too much to keep the system maintained, to keep the walls of the system erect, to keep the framework of the system that we all complain about. And we know that justice is not afforded to everybody equally. We know that. Why are we pretending that all of a sudden they're going to be held accountable? No. They are the structure of corruption. Think about how America was founded. America was never founded to be good, honest, and decent. It was founded on human trafficking and raping and stealing other people's cultures and feeding alligators our babies. That's what America was founded on. Do you think that has ever changed? When has America ever become righteous? Now, we've been fooled because it says in God we trust on the money. Oh, we're a religious nation. And look at how religion was used to justify slavery. So when you hear about really egregious things, just know that this is in the DNA of this nation. Now, black people have tried to be a reflection of good, but slavery is another institution. I think we also believe that if something really super duper bad happens, somebody will step in to stop it. Slavery was awful, and it went on for 250 years. And it only ended because the South decided that they wanted to have their own slavery country. And Abraham Lincoln was like, yo, you're going too far. You're reaching the upper limits of accountability. Don't try to leave, Abraham Lincoln said. Please don't form your own country. This is going to make me look bad. I'm the president of the United States. Abraham Lincoln could not have the nation literally split into two countries under his leadership because as president, that's like a bad asterisk on your name in history. And so the South tried to secede state by state. They lost the war, and Abraham Lincoln was like, I'm going to free your slaves, not because it's the moral thing to do, because he could have signed the Emancipation Proclamation upon his election in 1860, but he didn't. Please know this. The Emancipation Proclamation is just an executive order. It is not a law. Now, time went on, and there was some constitutional amendments that were created that better solidified black people as human. But the Emancipation Proclamation was just an executive order. Like Donald Trump signed 200 executive orders within his first couple of weeks of being in office. And they basically are worth slightly more than the paper they are printed on because the congressional law can reverse any executive order. We were freed by executive decree. But then slavery also had to persist because so much of America was built on free labor that there's a clause in the 13th Amendment that says slavery shall be prohibited unless the commission of a crime. So now what do? We just detain people and make them work for free. It's the same thing. America has not changed. The calendar has changed. Technology has changed. How we frame corruption has changed. But this nation has been corrupt and been disgusting since the very beginning. And this is not me hating America. Believe it or not, I rather like it here because you still can do a bunch. Now, there's limits. If you become rich enough and powerful enough, you can have an island and do real bad things on that island. Like, that's the upper limit. But if you go too far with that, they'll kill you. So if you do anything less than raping kids on an island, you're good. And that's a pretty broad breadth of stuff to do because I don't need to go that far. You know what I mean? Like, I would like a private jet. And my house is fine. I like my house. Even if I got real rich, there would be signs. My chimney all of a sudden would be plated in gold. But other than that, I don't think I would move out of my house. But I'd have a plane. And I'd park my plane right next to Joe Barada's plane because I've seen his plane before. And I'm not trying to give this guy any credit because, he's terrible and he's a slumlord. But when I saw his jet, don't judge me when I tell you this. Dax, you're going to want to judge me. I'm telling you right now, don't judge me. I'm here 5 days a week, 3 hours a day. Some days I don't feel like getting out of bed, but I'm here. Give me a little credit for that. So when I say what I'm about to say, don't judge me. I saw his plane and I got a little bit of an erection. A little bit. I said, oh, God. Oh, jeepers creepers. Oh, Sherwin, what's wrong with you, huh? Sherwin, why's your briefcase covering your midsection, huh? I don't know. It's a nice plane. Just saying, I couldn't help it. It was involuntary. It was an involuntary reaction. Exposure with the Epstein files does not threaten power. Justice is conditional. Depends on who you are. If you're poor and break the law, you're going to jail forever. If you're very wealthy and very powerful and very insulated and you break the law, it's like, well, they'll tell you, just make it less obvious. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. We'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
This Black History Month, 1017 The Truth, opening up the mic to Milwaukee's youth, young boys and girls sharing what Black history means to them in their own words. I'll be reading and sharing your submissions with the 1017 The Truth audience all month long. Our voices, our stories. If you know a young person with something to say, share their message on social media, tag at ToryLow_King or 1017 The Truth. Let's amplify their stories together.
We need to optimize the PID controller for smoother robotic movements.
Our data analysis shows a significant correlation between the variables in both control groups.
The test shows you experience an acute myocardial infarction.
As you'll see on the syllabus, this course will largely focus on the Mesozoic era.
Get your child the access every child deserves. Enroll your K through 8th grade child by February 28 at Milwaukee College Prep, mkeprep.com/enroll.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Prizes, exclusive experiences, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting truthcontests.com. That's truthcontests.com.
Happy kids heal faster, and that's why Starlight is dedicated to improving the mental well-being of sick kids across the U.S. Learn how at starlight.org.
Seriously injured? Make one call. That's all.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Our phone number, if you want it for texting or calling or whatever, 833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. Talking about Epstein, but not really. Talking about the upper limits of accountability and justice. And this is stuff that you already know. I just don't know if anybody is talking about it in this way. If you're powerful enough, nothing happens. You guys know that. You guys have seen very powerful people get in trouble before, and they get a slap on the wrist, or they get probation, or they get reelected president. If Trump is not the best example of that, but for some reason we think that that's not reality. There used to be a time where we wanted our elected officials to be squeaky clean and be really experienced and be so nerdy when it comes to policy that they could do things that we could not because of their understanding of policy. Now, we want someone that hates what and who we hate and will accept their flawed personality and their immorality as long as they hate who we hate. Because if you make regular people's lives miserable enough, people get really, really super angry. But you don't want their anger pointed at a corrupt system because America has always been corrupt, y'all. That's what I'm trying to even make America great again. There was no point in our posterior where America was moral. It was worse. And Donald Trump wants to return to a time when socially it was worse for some people, but there was less accountability. They used to just go to the jail on a Friday night and just get an African American that was arrested probably for not even violating the law, and they would have a party and lynch this person, hanging somebody the most brutal way you can kill a human being because their neck snaps and it gets stretched. It's disgusting. And they celebrated that. So when you say make America great again, you have to understand to a cohort of people, that was greatness. I even see remnants of it still to this day. So America was never this, whatever Ronald Reagan called it, this shining city on a hill. For some people, it always was. For other people, it never will be. So if people are just miserable, the economy's not doing well, and money seems hard to get, and jobs are disappearing, and companies are laying folks off left and right, you're going to make people really, really angry. But you can't have them direct their anger toward the system. You have to have their anger directed toward other people so that we fight amongst each other, because we all know that our unity is what would actually break the system. That and us realizing that justice is only afforded to certain people. It's our belief in that. Oh, well, that person is rich. And we make up excuses. Well, they're rich and they're powerful. They're never going to get in trouble. We almost rewarded. The biggest punishment to Donald Trump would have been, let's not vote for him. That would have been, it's not going to prison. It wouldn't have been him being on house arrest or whatever kind of sentences that they were considering. It's just him not getting elected again because it would have bruised his ego. But instead, he was rewarded. But I think that also speaks to how much some people just didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris. There was certainly some of that. I still believe that the election fraud and the manipulation of voting machines, totals, and tallies of votes took place. She might have won. We're never going to know. Or maybe at some point in the future they'll declassify this election information. I also want you to know that the federal government, the Department of Justice, confiscated voting machines in Fulton County, Georgia. Remember when Trump made the phone call and said, I need 11,780 votes? Remember when he said that? Well, his Department of Justice just seized ballots, and if I'm not mistaken, voting machines from Fulton County. Why? First of all, the federal government can't do that. They have no jurisdiction. They have no constitutional authority. Also, remember when Trump said he wanted to suspend the Constitution? Yep, he did it. Tariffs was a suspension of the Constitution. Only Congress has that right. He was like, screw you, Congress. And Congress was like, yes, Daddy. Daddy, don't. Shut up. Okay. Go make me a whiskey sour, Ron Johnson. Oh, all right, Mr. President. Would you like for me to serve this on my knees? Here, put the tray on my head, and I'll just walk around like a midget. I can't say midget anymore. Let's talk to Jay. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you, Jay?
I'm all right, man. Good morning to you, Sherwin. I'm still laughing at these fools at this Black History thing at the White House, and the woman, he let him do his job. I'm like, dude, where do they get these people from? That's all I ask, because either people are blind at what this man is doing, or they just don't give a damn. But it's crazy.
Jay, it's not hard. It's not hard to find a black Trump supporter. I know a couple.
Yeah, man, it's like they blind, dude. And then he had the nerve to put his picture up there in the Justice Building. I'm like, come on now, y'all don't see this? Stevie Wonder can see this stuff, man, and they blind. It's just crazy, Sherwin. I don't get it, man, but hey, some of us don't realize. I wanted to pay the lady. Did they give her some money, or she just did that just to be on TV for those 15 seconds? I don't know.
No, they didn't pay her. But if you look, while she was saying her defense of Donald Trump, she would like glance over at him periodically to make sure that he was approving of what she was saying. It's not hard to find somebody who will speak publicly, a black person that will speak publicly to support Donald Trump. There's millions of folks out there, so finding her wasn't difficult. I think she did.
Oh, wow. That's not... Yeah, I think she did, too.
That's right.
Enjoy your day, brother.
Thank you, Jay. Yeah, she was sincere, but it was just what gave me the ick is how while she would say, let the man do his job. Let him do his job. Stop talking all this racism stuff. And then she would like look over at him like, Daddy, is that good? Am I saying it right? X, are you familiar with what Jay was referencing as an older African-American woman who, I didn't know that was a Black History program. I just saw the clip somewhere.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like a minstrel show, kind of, you know?
Worse. Because minstrel shows were white people in blackface. That was a black lady in whiteface supporting them. But I understand, though. So a lot of people don't even really know how our government works, how it's supposed to operate, how it's supposed to function. Like the fine print in the Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, reading and understanding and interpreting not just the constitutional amendments, but knowing the epoch of history in which those amendments passed. You got to know all that stuff. And you're not taught that. You're not taught that on purpose, because if you were taught that, you'd be like, wait a minute. Our patterns of how we exhibit democracy would change if the American people even knew what an alderman was, what a county supervisor does, what a legislature does. 3 branches of government. You guys know that, right? But you know that we have 3 branches of government at every single level of government? You probably think, oh, we have the Supreme Court, that's the judicial. We have the legislature, which is the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. That's a bicameral system. And we have the executive. And the executive can either sign a law or veto a law and pardon people. That's basically it. And appoint like ambassadors and appoint a cabinet. But all of the cabinets that exist in the federal government were approved and created by Congress. Congress allows the president with their laws for the president to appoint people to cabinet positions that they created. A lot of folks don't know that. But the state level has 3 branches of government. The circuit court, the state legislature, and the governor. Milwaukee County has 3 branches of government. The county executive, the Milwaukee County Board of Supervisors, that's the legislature, and the courts. The city of Milwaukee has 3 branches of government. The mayor, the common council, and the municipal court. And most people are, oh, Sherwin, I didn't know that. If there aren't going to be any major consequences other than some temporary embarrassment because of the Epstein files, because they weighed the cost of indicting all of these people and it would collapse the system. Like indicting Bill Gates and saying, Bill Gates, you're a bad man. You did really bad stuff on that island. But you own and control Microsoft, which, I don't know, 35 or 40% of global computer systems rely on their technology. To really hold Bill Gates accountable, you would have to deconstruct, break up, and destroy Microsoft. Governments would not be able to function. So like, all right, Bill, we're just going to put your name out there, but you're never going to go to jail. And also we're going to renew all of our contracts with Microsoft. The cost of indicting, and that's just one person. The cost of indicting people on that list would collapse the world. The global system would just fall flat, and then we can never recover from that. And then would it be worth it? Some people would say, well, then go back to maintaining the Epstein list, and I just want my computer to work. But think about this. If what happened with Jeffrey Epstein, and there's a lot that we're never going to know, and some of it is really super bad, and it got exposed, right? Because I got to give him credit. The Trump supporters were so thoroughly convinced that it was a Democratic cabal. They pushed and pushed and pushed, and Donald Trump even said, oh, yeah, we'll release the Epstein files. Trump was like, yeah, we'll never release it. And then he had to, because there were Republicans, and that threatened Donald Trump's power, that signed on to the law they created, that Donald Trump signed. He didn't want to release them, but he politicized the Department of Justice, because the Department of Justice had the files for 20 years. And they didn't want to release any information. They didn't want to indict any people, because they had to do a series, through several different presidents, they had to do a cost-benefit analysis. If we bring this to light and we indict these people, because once you indict somebody and get a grand jury, it becomes public. And if one person in the Epstein files becomes public, it's webbed and linked to so many other people and powerful systems that it would have collapsed the whole global system. Here's what you got to think about. Think about what else they're hiding. Think about what else is happening right now. You think that Epstein was the only situation like that? Think about what else is going on right now, where people are involved right now with things that could include child sex trafficking, murder, the kidnapping of Savannah Guthrie's mama. Think about all the stuff that is going on right now. The Department of Justice says we can't indict the people that are involved in Scandal B because it would threaten the order and it would threaten to collapse the system. So there's things that are still happening right now. The Epstein debacle and saga and drama is not the only thing. That's just the one that we happen to find out about. There are a bunch of things going on involving as powerful, even more powerful people that are stopping just short of child sex trafficking. Because some of that is even allowed, but not too much of it. Some of that is the upper limit of accountability. All right, I got to take a break, come back. We're going to transition and talk about Summerfest at some point. Yay! Music festivals in summertime. I'm just trying to get folks to understand that this stuff happens in a world that you know is corrupt. Like, don't let them gaslight you. It is as bad as you think, if not worse. There are things that are happening right now that are just as evil and egregious of whatever may be in those millions of pages of Epstein files, but prosecuting those people would do more harm to the order and the system and the structure, so they just let it happen. They let it go on in the background. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Injured at work, unable to work due to health problems, or denied veteran benefits you're entitled to? Last year, Tayback Law returned over $73 million in wrongfully denied VA and Social Security benefits to people in our communities. Tayback Law celebrates Black History Month by bringing its message to 101.7 The Truth. The team is thrilled to see Milwaukee achieve this exciting new outlet for speaking truth to power. And Tayback Law is always ready to fight for you. Call Tayback for the payback. TaybackAttorneys.com.
Join Cousins Club Rewards today. Grab your first sub and your next one could be free. After your first qualifying purchase, you'll earn a free sub and start collecting points for free food, exclusive deals, and even Cousins gear. Sign up today. It's fast and easier than ever on the Cousins Subs app. Earn points online, on the app, or in store. However you enjoy Cousins Subs, your rewards are right at your fingertips. Cousins Subs. We believe in better.
Truth Nation, it's time once again to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community at the second annual Truth Community Awards, happening Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 inside the 3rd Street Market Hall in downtown Milwaukee. This award show will honor the unsung heroes who show up, give back, and make a positive impact in our community every single day. We are rolling out the red carpet and showing love to those who truly deserve it. Buy your tickets now by visiting 1017thetruthAwards.com. Tickets are just $20, which includes free food and exclusive Truth giveaways. Join the 1017 The Truth team for an unforgettable night of entertainment, inspiration, and community pride at the second annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 20th at Venue 3 in Milwaukee. The Truth Community Awards are presented by Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffels, Milwaukee College Prep, Cousins Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall, and the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation.
You served behind the desk.
You served in combat.
You did 4 years and got out.
You were drafted.
You gave 20 years.
You gave exactly what your country needed.
And so did you.
When you raised your hand and swore an oath to your country, when you put your name on a dotted line, you became part of only 1% of Americans who did the same. You are a veteran.
You are a veteran.
You are a veteran. Because no matter when, where, or how you served, you made a sacrifice for your country, and you deserve support.
If you're struggling with life after service, don't wait. Reach out.
Reach out to a loved one, to a fellow veteran, to VA.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
I recently viewed Netflix, Joe's College Road Trip. It's the latest Tyler Perry flick. And I took the recommendation of all people of Dr. Ken Harris. He posted somewhere on his social media and he raved about the movie. And I was looking for something to watch last weekend. I'm usually with family on the weekends, but I was chilling at home, didn't really have much going on. I saw Dr. Ken's social media recommendation of the latest Tyler Perry flick. And I wouldn't think that Dr. Ken would like any Tyler Perry movies. So I was like, oh, well, hell, if Dr. Ken is recommending it, it must extend beyond the boundaries of what I would think Dr. Ken would detest about Tyler Perry's movies. I am not a fan of his art because of how he exhibits it. He is exceptionally talented, multi-talented, and he has reaped the rewards of it. I just have a different lens that I look through when it comes to black culture. If you take away all the ways in which we are negatively impacted and influenced as black people, who we are is honest, fair, decent, law-abiding, justice-serving people. And there are things in this country that take us off of our square. We have to remove some of those things from our repertoire if you want to get hired by white folks, if you want to work in this industry. You have to some extent, act in an immoral way against your own people if you want to have success in a white world. I'm going to let y'all think about that for a while. And so I want to make sure that what is exhibited about black culture are the stories that are not told. That's why in my Facebook group, I said, if you're going to post things in my Facebook group, because I have a Facebook group that corresponds to this radio show, because I have found that the conversations that we have here between 9 a.m. and noon spark additional conversation that extend way into the evening, you see. So I created this Facebook group so y'all can yell and talk and scream and use profanity and all sorts of other things. It's a private group, so you won't have to worry about being exposed. And I said in the group, because every Black History Month, black people want to post things. And I said in the group at the very first day of Black History Month, stop posting about Frederick Douglass and Rosa Parks, because it's the same people we always hear about. There's so many nameless, faceless African Americans that did so much whose names we don't know. Go find them. Focus on them. Find me somebody we never heard of before. Give somebody flowers that never ever received them. Someone who was so important and so powerful. They probably had all of their work stolen, all of their research stolen, all of their science stolen by white folks. Find those people. I don't want to hear about Dr. King. Don't tell me not another thing about Dr. King. In fact, I'm going to say this. I'm sick of Dr. King because the way white folks have used him. You know, you black people are shooting each other. Dr. King wouldn't like that. You clearly don't know where Dr. King was moving his message toward the end of his life, and that's why they killed him. So shut up. I don't want to hear nothing. Shout out to you, Dr. King. All right, you did a bunch of stuff. But we're over here thinking that marching is going to do it. The system that we are trying to defeat has already built black protest into it, and it knows how to respond to it. In fact, I don't care what happens. Black person gets killed, black person gets shot, police murder somebody. They know that we're going to march because they built that into the system that still is going to oppress and marginalize black people. Not only have they built that in, they'll say like, oh, we'll block the streets off for you. Let us know your march route. They call it a parade route. Let us know your parade route, and we'll have officers make sure that you guys can march safely. We'll even close down the streets for you. And because they cooperate with our marches means they don't care and it's not going to change anything. It brings a little more awareness, but what does awareness do? A few more white people are like, oh, that's sad. Look at the blacks. Oh, well, I guess I'll go buy a dinner at a black-owned restaurant. That'll be my good deed for the day. But the overindulgence of Dr. King is because he promoted nonviolence, and that is a way to subdue the impulses of black people that most mimic that of white people. Okay, let me ask you this. So nobody likes violence because it's bad and it's dangerous and bullets hurt and getting beat up hurt. Violence is awful. Okay? Who was the white leader that supported nonviolence? Find me one. I'm legitimately asking you to because maybe there was one. Who was telling white people, who was telling Europeans to not be violent, to march and to protest and to sing songs of freedom? Who? Is there any person significant in white history that we were taught about, that they made us learn about, that was promoting nonviolence? And that answer is probably going to be no, not anybody significant. And if there was a white person that was promoting nonviolence, like Dr. King promoted nonviolence for black people, they killed that white person. That's the irony of it. Even though Dr. King stands for nonviolence and he's supposed to be this beacon of black passivity, they killed him too. So my opinion, if you're going to put Dr. King on a pedestal because of his sentiments of nonviolence, he was put on a pedestal so that he would be an easier target to shoot. I'm going to let y'all digest that. I'm going to take a break, come back, and continue our beautiful and lovely and very optimistic conversation on a Friday edition of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. All month long, we're honoring the voices, the stories, and the achievements that have shaped our past, empowered our present, and continue to inspire our future. Tune in for Dr. Ken's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know, and Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories, amplifying the youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Tune in all month long as 1017 The Truth lifts up the legacy, the brilliance, and the power of Black history. Because Black history isn't just history, it's happening every day. 1017 The Truth's celebration of Black History Month is proudly sponsored by Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law. Celebrating Black excellence, celebrating our history. All month long on 1017 The Truth.
We need to optimize the PID controller for smoother robotic movements.
Our data analysis shows a significant correlation between the variables in both control groups.
The test shows you've experienced an acute myocardial infarction.
As you'll see on the syllabus, this course will largely focus on the Mesozoic era.
Get your child the access every child deserves. Enroll your K through 8th grade child by February 28 at Milwaukee College Prep, mkeprep.com/enroll.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about four walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
Wisconsin is as hard-working of a place as you'll ever find. People here are tough, but even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. At Gruber Law Offices, we won't stop fighting for you and your family. One call, that's all.
When you're high, you feel different. Pretty obvious, right? You think different, talk different, but if you feel different, you drive different. So if you're high, just don't drive. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
The Truth with Sherwin Hughes returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Truth Nation, the second annual Truth Community Awards is tonight. And you can get your last-minute tickets right now by visiting 1017thetruthAwards.com. And congratulations to the amazing award recipients this year, who are Andre Douglas, Erica Crowley, Farina Brooks, Joseph Addison, Melody McCurtis, and Shauna Lindenberg. Thank you to them for making a real difference in our community. The Truth Community Awards is presented by Potawatomi Casino and Hotel and Milwaukee College Prep, the Milwaukee Bucks Foundation, Gruber Law Offices, Steinhoffel's, Cousin Subs, Venue 3 at the 3rd Street Market Hall. Come celebrate with us tonight at the Truth Community Awards, hosted by Homer Blow and Bailey Coleman from 5:30 until 8 p.m. at Venue 3 in the 3rd Street Market Hall. All right, now. I was about to go on a rant on Tyler Perry's latest movie, Joe's College Road Trip, and there were some messages in that movie that are incredibly disturbing. I think Tyler Perry thinly shrouded them in humor, and I don't think that they were anything to laugh at. So the basic premise of the movie, and I guess I can understand why people may have liked it, because I saw other people commenting on the movie on social media, on Facebook, and a lot of folks liked the message. It was essentially Tyler Perry raised his son, in a private school environment with all white kids, and Tyler Perry's son in the movie was sitting around with two of his high school classmates, and they were all going to Pepperdine University in California, which is like an Ivy League adjacent, a high-performing, I guess, private, really expensive, exclusive private school in Malibu, California. And then Tyler Perry was like, no, you should go to an HBCU, because I guess Tyler Perry's son was also accepted to Howard. And Tyler Perry was then going on, his character in the movie was anyway, like, oh, no, you should go to Howard, and, it's a historically black college and university. And then Tyler Perry's son and his white friends were laughing at the existence of HBCUs. And then Tyler Perry's son in the movie, of course, Tyler Perry's son is black. He's like, oh, Dad, that's racist. Why do we even need historically black colleges and universities? And then Tyler Perry's black son is like laughing and high-fiving with these white kids who are all going to Pepperdine University. And Tyler Perry at that moment knew his son was kept and blocked and was devoid of understanding his history and why we even needed HBCUs. So then Tyler Perry goes to his Aunt Medea's house where his father, Joe, lives. You guys know these characters in all the Medea franchise movies. And Tyler Perry comes up with an idea that he wants his father, Joe, who is a gross, disgusting, perverted, crass old man, but that's the character that Joe is in the movie, also played by Tyler Perry. Tyler Perry thought it was a good idea for his son, Tyler Perry's son, to take the road trip with his grandfather so that his grandfather can inform him about our history and then stop at all the different civil rights landmarks that are on the way from Atlanta, Georgia, all the way out to California. And there'll be random scenes in the movie where Tyler Perry's father, Tyler Perry's son's grandfather, would stop at these random sites, and then they would take a picture. Grandpa Joe would take a picture, and the high school senior Tyler Perry's son would be, why are we stopping here? And then by the end of the movie, they had this whole collection of stops at different civil rights monuments and the creek in which Emmett Till was thrown into. So that was the overall message. But the problem was this. The boy was a square because he grew up, Tyler Perry's son in the movie grew up in an all-white environment because Tyler Perry wanted his boy shielded from some of the ills that can exist in the black community and the black culture. Which the irony of the movie is when you put black children in all-white environments, that is oftentimes more dangerous and more toxic because we begin to discount and discredit who we are, our culture, our heritage, and our history. Like, that's the overarching message. But there was another sexual message in the movie that was disgusting to me. Tyler Perry's having this discussion with his father, Joe, talking about, well, Tyler, Brian is his name in the movie, Tyler Perry's character. Well, I got you laid when you were 9 years old. And it was like a laughable scene because they were joking about the fact that Tyler Perry's son, who grew up in this private school environment with these wealthy white kids, was a virgin. And throughout the course of the movie, they stop at a whorehouse where, of course, all of the prostitutes are black. And then Tyler Perry's son, Joe's grandson, basically sets this boy up with a prostitute where they promote having unprotected sex. It's so bad, y'all. Not to mention the unnecessary vulgarities. And I think that Tyler Perry was trying to create an ethos around his father's character, that he's this brash, no pulled punches, old school black man. Like, I get that. But the way it was overdone was disappointing and embarrassing. Let's talk to The Town. You're on 101.7 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How you doing?
Doing all right. What's on your mind?
First off, I would like to give my condolences to your dad.
Thank you.
I haven't been my schedule's been messed up, so I've been able to holler at you and go back and forth with you like we usually do, though. But
I'm okay with that.
He seemed like yeah, me too. But a couple things like with the Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah.
Because I don't even like Tyler Perry, man. I don't like him. I think he don't have good male role models. You know what I'm saying? But this movie, I kind of liked it, except for the stuff you just said. And I was wondering, like, why did he put that up in there? With all the he didn't have to put that bad stuff in there. You know what I'm saying? Especially the part of the movie when he had the conversation with the grandson, and he was talking about, well, okay, we done fought for you, and we done fought for you. Now it's your time to fight. That was a real poignant conversation, and like you said before, the pictures or whatever like that. That was real good, and that's something that all of us as black people need to know. Now the whorehouse scene and the glory hole scene, and I'm getting.
You're right. There was a glory hole scene where there was a man on the other side of that hole in the bathroom, and Grandpa Joe put his penis in that hole. So homosexuality was the theme of it. But here's the part, and I get why you may have liked the movie, because parts of it do appeal to large swaths of black culture, but there was a scene where Tyler Perry is trying to convince his father, Joe, to take Tyler Perry's son on this road trip, and Tyler Perry laments about the fact that Tyler Perry, when he was a kid, was made to have sex with a 9-year-old at the bequest of his father. Now, here's what I'm thinking. If your father made you have sex at the age of 9, I am not putting my child in the vehicle with a man that made me have sex at the age of 9 and let that man drive my son across country. That was the part that normalized child sex abuse, which we know is in the black community, but we never talk about it. Go see the movie Precious if you really want an education lesson on that topic.
I don't know why. And plus, them scenes that we questioning, they don't further the plot in no way. It like I was watching it, and I was thinking to myself, I'm like, why are they putting this in there? Because you could have took that glory hole scene out. You could have took the whorehouse scene with Miss Pat out. You could have took all that sexual stuff out, and you still would have had a good movie. I think you would have had a better movie without that stuff, with a great message the black people need to know.
Oh, my show. I got to take a break. Thank you for your call. I went way over. All right. I think they put that stuff in the movie to appeal to, no offense, to a lowbrow African-American viewership. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be back for Hour 3 in the Milwaukee Experience.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
This is 101.7 The Truth, Kyle Wallace, and I am Milwaukee. I take great pride in being a 414 boy and representing the city that I love. The great memories I have of going to Northtown Cinema to see movies with family and friends, to going to Capitol Court to see the Black Santa Claus, this city has helped shape me into the man that I am today, and I pledge to utilize my voice as a way to advocate for you in our community. Join the home of Milwaukee's realest conversations where you can speak your truth. We are the award-winning 101.7 The Truth. Milwaukee Black Talk.
Life's better with Drive My Way from American Family Insurance, because we know it's more than just a car. It's your escape pod, your adventure mobile, your memory maker. And we help protect the dreams that drive you. Personalize what you pay for auto insurance and you could save between 10 and 35%. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on the way you purchase insurance and by state. Unsafe driving behaviors may increase your rate. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
America is kept safe because the Army National Guard responds, protects, and supports our nation when it needs them most. The Army National Guard responds to disasters such as wildfires and floods. They protect us with missile defense, cybersecurity, and civilian support teams for chemical, biological, and radiological hazards. Be there for your community and your country. Visit NationalGuard.com to learn more about part-time service. Sponsored by the Wisconsin Army National Guard. Aired by the Wisconsin Broadcasters Association and this station.
Day 1, diagnosis day. The hardest day. The day you hear,
I'm sorry, this is a type of blood cancer.
But day 1 is just one day. At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day 1.
On day 45, I discovered an online community who shared great tips for in-treatment care.
I missed a lot of school during treatment, and LLS helped me keep up.
We are here for you. We exist for everyone fighting leukemia, lymphoma, myeloma, and other types of blood cancer.
On day 185, LLS helped me file my insurance claims properly.
Day 5,840 and counting, and I'm still in remission.
To learn more and get help on day 1, day 2, day 983, or any day, please visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572. That's LLS.org, 1-800-955-4572.
Listen to the man who tells you exactly how he sees it. The Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris every weekday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. on 101.7 FM, 1510 AM WGKB Waukesha and W269DL Milwaukee, a locally owned Good Karma brand station. This is The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Welcome to Hour 3 of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes. And of course, it is Friday at 11 a.m. The Milwaukee Experience with me, Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee starts now. This is a city that knows how to celebrate, where the calendar is packed with festivals and plates are piled high with flavor, and the lakefront sunrises set the stage for unforgettable days. The Milwaukee Experience every Friday is when we do this. It's at 11 a.m. and it's exclusively on The Truth with Sherwin Hughes, presented by Visit Milwaukee. And I'm sure you all are aware that the Summerfest music lineup came out to, mixed fanfare. But if we're going to talk about Milwaukee experiences, of course we have to talk about the world's largest music festival. Now, you also know that it has changed formats post-COVID. It used to be a straight 11-day run at the Henry Meyer Festival Park right there along the lakefront. Arguably one of the most beautiful parks that we have anywhere in southeastern Wisconsin. 70 curated acres with Lake Michigan as the backdrop. But with the format change of Summerfest going from that 11-day run to 3 separate weekends, of course, that drew some criticism, because when you have something as iconic as Summerfest, and it is indeed iconic, any change would be met with scrutiny, because one thing people really don't like is when things are changed abruptly, and for no good reason to the casual onlooker. I'd imagine it was likely a measure for efficiency in order to still have that festival go on every single summer and do so in a way that is, I suppose, the least costly. Now, I've got the lineup here, and a couple of my colleagues were giving their opinions, as we all do, because we are partnering with Summerfest, and we're going to give away a ton of tickets as that festival grows closer. In fact, I think we've been giving tickets away. We've been giving away power passes the last couple of weeks because we want you all to get the most out of your Summerfest experience. So I'm looking at the lineup here, and there is not a large proportion of acts that are dedicated to the African American community. I want to push back on that just a little bit because black people listen to all sorts of music. So there's that. And there's going to be African Americans, I'm sure, at all of these shows and in most of these stages. But the big headliner, and I think this is sufficient, Don Toliver, who I love Don Toliver. I'd like to play more of his music as my bumper music on this show, but not really a lot of his stuff is clean. But every now and again, I may play a Don Toliver song. He is one of my favorite artists. He also has a Grammy. So him being a headliner the weekend of June 18th through 20th, I think that that's sufficient. But then also he'll be joined by Sa Baby, who I never heard of before, Che, So Fago, Chase B, Lilo, and So Camo. Now, I'm an old person. I don't know who those individuals are, but I'd imagine the entire Don Toliver show are featuring all African-American acts. And I think before people jump to the conclusion of, oh, Summerfest just doesn't want black people there. Hell, maybe they don't. You ever think about that? Sometimes black people don't want other black people in their vicinity. I'm just saying, that's okay. But to think that an international music festival has got to do more to cater to an African-American audience, that I don't even know how many of us even go to Summerfest. In fact, if there weren't the number of free tickets available and giveaways and like special offers, because Summerfest is expensive. It's gotten more expensive every single year, and cost in our city can be prohibitive. So I don't even know how many more of us would actually go, even if they did have more African-American acts. But the thing about Summerfest, it is a national, if not international, music festival. So it's not just about appealing to people who are here in the city of Milwaukee. Because I'll be honest with you, I really don't go to Summerfest. It's too touristy. It's too inconvenient. Parking is a mess. I'm not getting on one of those buses or one of those shuttles. Sorry, I'm just not doing it. But I've also been here my entire life. And Summerfest to me is like, people that live in Las Vegas don't go to the Strip. It's gross to them. They don't do it. It's for tourists. I don't go to Summerfest because I get to enjoy music at venues throughout the year in different parts of the city. But there's an overarching reason why I think there aren't more African-American acts at Summerfest. To satisfy some of you that think it's, I don't know, conspiracy or, oh, they hate black people, they don't want us there. And I don't know, who knows, maybe they don't want us there. So have you guys ever heard of an international organization, a concert tour promoting organization called Live Nation? Live Nation owns Ticketmaster. I know you've heard of Ticketmaster. In fact, there is a federal antitrust lawsuit going on right now suing both Live Nation and its subsidiary Ticketmaster because they have a monopoly on concert tickets. Now, this was brought to light some years ago where Taylor Swift was performing or set to perform who knows where, and people were astonished to find out that tickets were going for $3,000, $4,000, and $5,000. In fact, members of the U.S. Senate wanted to buy tickets to this Taylor Swift concert so that their children could enjoy Taylor Swift's performance. And they were astonished and appalled that Ticketmaster could charge so much money for those tickets. And then it was realized that between 70 and 80 of concerts and music shows, not just in America, but globally, are through Ticketmaster. Well, that constitutes a monopoly. And if there is no competition, and there is very, very little, and most competition is smaller local music venues, then no one can compete with Ticketmaster and Live Nation. They will inflate the prices to whatever they see fit. Here is how they work, and I want to explain this. I'm also going to give you a list of artists that cannot play at Summerfest. Black artists that, even if they wanted to play, even if Summerfest wanted these artists to make Summerfest more, I don't know, ethnically diverse, these artists that I'm going to list could not play there. What Live Nation will do is, let's say Lil Wayne is going on tour. Live Nation will purchase the entire tour. Let's say Lil Wayne is doing 40 dates throughout the country. They'll purchase the entire tour. They'll say, okay, Lil Wayne, we'll give you $45 million. And Wayne takes the money. And Wayne will only be able to perform at venues that are owned and controlled by Live Nation. Summerfest is not. So while Lil Wayne might be doing all of these shows all over the country, he would not come to Milwaukee until or unless they build a Live Nation concert venue in Milwaukee. And guess what? We now have one right adjacent to the Fiserv Forum. And a lot of folks think, oh, wow, this is great. Now some of those concerts are going to come to Milwaukee, to the Fiserv Forum. They are, but here's a couple things that are going to happen. All of the other music venues that you guys have been going to, the Milwaukee Theater and the Pabst Theater and Shank Hall and the Rave, are all going out of business. Let me tell you why. Because Live Nation can purchase all of the shows and the concerts that would go to those smaller Milwaukee-owned, locally owned theaters, and Live Nation will purchase those concerts at a loss just so our local concert venues go out of business. And I know this firsthand because when they were having conversations about building the Live Nation venue, which is now built on the Fiserv Forum land just adjacent to the Milwaukee Bucks Arena, they went around to local concert venues and basically said, representatives from Live Nation, this was about 4 years ago, they said, we're putting all of you out of business, so sell us your venue now or we're going to take it. That information was communicated to Milwaukee officials and members of the Common Council, and they were asked to block Live Nation from building a music venue in Milwaukee because Live Nation wants the only place you go to see concerts is either at the Fiserv Forum, where you get your tickets from Ticketmaster, or from the music venue that was built recently on the Fiserv Forum land. All of your concert, and they're going to be able to inflate the price because guess what? You won't be able to see music anywhere else. And real big acts will, of course, be in the Fiserv Forum. Smaller acts that would command a crowd of 4,000, 3,500, 3,000 people will be at that Live Nation venue. Live Nation Entertainment, which includes Ticketmaster, dominates the live music industry through promotion, venue ownership, operation, and ticketing services. Many artists engage with the company via tour promotion, exclusive ticketing deals, or venue bookings rather than traditional recording contracts. Prominent black artists that are associated with Live Nation, meaning they can only perform in Live Nation-owned venues. So if your city doesn't have a Live Nation-owned concert venue, you'll never see these artists. You might have to go to Chicago, or you have to go to Minneapolis, or go to Memphis. The artists include Beyonce, Chris Brown, Drake, Usher, The Weeknd, Kendrick, SZA, Tyler the Creator, Post Malone, A$AP Rocky, Cardi B, Summer Walker, Doja Cat, Kodak Black, and even Jill Scott. Side note on Jill Scott, please go watch her latest Tiny Desk concert. You can find it on YouTube. It is the absolute definition of self-care. My goodness. 26 minutes of musical bliss. That's a live performance of Jill Scott on the Tiny Desk concert. So look, all those other artists I've listed, they have performed in Milwaukee before, but at different locally owned venues. Now, if any of those artists come back to Milwaukee, they will be performing at either the Fiserv Forum or at the Live Nation venue. Just wanted to share that information with you. What other events we got going on this weekend? We have an event at the Pilot Project Brewery located on North 9th Street in the city of Milwaukee, and that's going to take place on Saturday, and they're going to feature a number of DJs and photo ops. There's a little thrift store. There's going to be a tattoo booth. I didn't know that people got tattoos as a part of attending events, but it is sponsored by the Social Circuit, and it's also a singles mixer. So that is taking place Saturday, February 21st at the Pilot Project from 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. located at 1128 North 9th Street. Tickets are available at the door. And, of course, you guys know that it's Lenten season, and the way y'all have been beating me up about where you can go and get the fish fry that I often enjoy. I'm not telling you about that venue, But I'll tell you about these other great fish fry places. The Swinging Door Exchange, 219 East Michigan. Fantastic fish fry. And, of course, one of my personal favorites, the Packing House, located at 900 East Layton. The St. Paul Fish Company in the historic 3rd Ward that's right there at the public market. You guys know where that is, 400 North Water Street. The Twisted Fisherman, Kegel's Inn, which is just outside of Milwaukee and West Dallas. The Red Lion British Pub, 1950 North Water Street. Final Approach, which is over by the airport on South Howell. And last but not least, one of the best fish fries in the city to round out your Milwaukee experience on Fish Fry Friday. Say that 10 times fast. Big Bob's Pub and Grill at 4919 West North Avenue. This has been the Milwaukee Experience, brought to you by Sherwin Hughes and our partners at Visit Milwaukee. Go check them out for all the wonderful things Milwaukee has to offer at visitmilwaukee.org. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. Tune in for Dr. Kin's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know. And Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories, amplifying the youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Celebrating Black excellence, celebrating our history. All month long on 1017 The Truth.
It is time to plan for kindergarten. Will your child turn 3, 4, or 5 by September 1st? Learn about kindergarten programs and enroll now at Milwaukee Public Schools. Explore schools offering traditional kindergarten, Montessori, and more. MPS students enjoy art, music, and physical education along with reading, writing, math, and science. Bus transportation and before and after school care are available. Attend the citywide kindergarten enrollment fair on February 21st at North Division High School. Get the details at mpsmke.com/enroll.
A penny saved earns you a whole new look. Nicovani's penny sale is on now. Buy one item at the regular price and get a second item for just 1 penny. Suits, shirts, and more for mere pocket change. In honor of Black History Month, Nicovani's is offering this incredible deal throughout February. So don't miss your chance to step out sharp for 1 measly penny. Visit Nicovani's on the 2nd floor of Mayfair Mall before February ends. Nicovani's penny sale. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about 4 walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It starts with a spark, and at Milwaukee College Prep, that spark turns into something extraordinary. From age 3 through 8th grade, Milwaukee College Prep nurtures brilliance, builds scholars with knowledge, character, and confidence. 88% of students face some economic hardship, but that does not define them because at Milwaukee College Prep, each child's potential shines. With 4 campuses and 1 powerful mission, college and beyond, Milwaukee College Prep is free, high-performing, and open to all Milwaukee families. Visit MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com to enroll or get involved. That is MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com, where Milwaukee's future begins to shine. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's talk to a patiently waiting Al. Al, you're on 1017 The Truth. How are you?
I'm doing good. Happy Friday to all. But you know, the best fish fry really is the one you cook in the kitchen yourself, because you can cook as much as you want. You can make the spaghetti with the two meats. You can make the homemade creamy coleslaw, and you can either make the Brazilian biscuits or the Red Lobster biscuits. And you
Al,
still
most people
have
can't
more
cook.
for tomorrow.
Most people can't. You cook. Most people can't. So we want them to go out for a fish fry, because if they even try to make one, they burn the house down.
Well, they always got YouTube, but, you know, practice make perfect. But anyway, you were talking about racism and how this world was built, how the United States was built. And I've been doing a lot of thinking. If there is a God, I think these white nationalist Christians, roaches of the sea, Matthew 22:39, should be left in heaven. They deserve a spot with their trifling asses, okay? Let's be honest, Mr. Hughes. Some black people are too good for heaven, you know, so they don't need to be involved in all that bull sugar honey iced tea, you know, because all these white nationalist Christians got to do is ask God for forgiveness, and he'll let their Proverbs 8:13 ignorant asses up in heaven. Because you know they F everything up on earth, and they can go right up to heaven, and that's that up too. You know, and I say to myself, what has God really done for black people? You know, we look at some of our family members who have lived by his word and got nothing but bull sugar honey iced tea at the end of the death. But we find it odd when things catastrophic happen to black people. He always got eyesight like Ray Charles, or he crying for 3 days because they hung so many people from the tree in Arkansas. So I say, hey, let they white ignorant ass come on up to heaven, okay? They get on up to heaven, they can rape the disciples, and they can rape Jesus too. You know what I mean? Because all they got to do is ask for forgiveness. F him in his mouth, F him in his ass, and when he get done, he can go brag to the goddamn devil about that too. Okay? Because these people are religious. They know the Bible from front to back. And, you know, all they got to do is ask for forgiveness. So since this God is so good, so powerful, so merciful, let them Pharaoh, hog, pig, heifers up in heaven. Because why should black people who mind their business have to go up there with them crooked tooth mouth, unclean, stinky, trifling bastards? So that God, whoever that God is, need to let them feral pigs, once they get away from the farm that turns into wild boars, let them come up to heaven too, okay? And then he can go brag to the devil about that. How you feel about that?
Don't ask me how I feel about that, Al. That was a lot of your opinion. I don't.
But I'm just saying, because think about it.
No.
Think about it. I mean, because think about it in the 30s. In the 30s, they was 37 marrying 9-year-olds. You know, they was, torturing black people. And when you look at the angry white man, he killed a whole family before he raped the dog, and then he asked for forgiveness. So go on and let him up to heaven.
You answered your own question now. You answered your own question. I think that the issue I'm hearing is that you're seeing maybe some inconsistencies and some hypocrisy as it relates to religion, that people can say and do really, really bad things, but as long as they ask for forgiveness, they can get into heaven. That's pretty much self-explanatory to me.
All I'm saying is if they are a Christian, Christian love is always good with Christian hate. They can take their ignorant, low-class, unhinged, crawling out of the septic tank of the trailer, trifling ass up to goddamn heaven. And everything they effed up on earth, you can F up on heaven, and he'll forgive you too. Now, I want all of you to have yourself a wonderful weekend. Enjoy that fish fry and make every day a good day. And even though it's cloudy outside, the sun is always shining on you. Y'all take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, Al. Thanks for your call.
He always has great soliloquies, or long ones, I should say.
He called Dr. Ken's show yesterday. I didn't hear it, but It may have been a social media post where I think Dr. Ken was remarking on Al's opinions about religion and why those opinions are so controversial. Everybody has an opinion about stuff, you know what I mean? And because someone has an opinion about religion that you may disagree with, this is just a Sherwin philosophy, and I know my philosophies tend to be unique. Really, with any strong opinion that someone may have, like some people may have a strong opinion on being in favor of Donald Trump. And if I disagree with that, I wouldn't platform my disagreement. I would just charge it to the game. Like, oh, this person called in and they said Trump is great and Trump is excellent. I wouldn't waste my time having to formulate why I don't agree with that. I would just let it roll off my shoulders. But Al, he's always been consistent on his thoughts and feelings on religion. And I do too. The reason why you don't know where anybody in the Bible is buried is because none of them ever existed. The Son of God, is actually the Son. There are 12 disciples because it's the 12 seasons. It's the 12 zodiac signs, rather. And the 4 disciples are the 4 seasons. It is a story that is as old as the ages itself. Just Christianity adopted a story that goes back to like ancient Greece. And the story has been told 1,000,001 times. The rising of the sun, the winter solstice, rising in the sun. It's all just tied to astronomy and astrology. The sun is rising again. Jesus rises again because the days are getting longer in the springtime. That's why you have Easter, because the days are getting longer.
You just made a lot of Christians mad.
No, they know it. It's just they like the version of the story better. But the things that have been done in the name of the fable of Christianity is what I think a lot of people have a problem with, because if you become a scientific critical thinker, you will see that story exists throughout the ages, and it directly corresponds with the 4 disciples and the 4 seasons. That's why Jesus is always depicted with a sun behind him, because he is actually the sun. And there's a correspondence with the days getting shorter and the winter solstice and Christmas, and there is a correspondence with Easter, because Easter is never on the same day. It varies based upon some astrological concept. I don't even get into it, but once I saw a video that demystified all of that, and it showed all the different regions and all the different countries and cultures that told the exact same story of a mythical creature that was killed, and then they rise again, and then the disciples are the seasons, and the 12 people that are at the table with Jesus each represent all of the 12 zodiac signs. That stuff is not coincidence.
Have you ever seen the film Religulous?
Bill Maher's a jerk, and he's a racist.
Yes, he is, but it was an interesting movie to watch as a kid growing up.
He is like pure atheist, that's his thing. You know, I used to watch Bill Maher like faithfully, religiously, but
10 years ago?
No, more recently than that. But when he had a dinner or a lunch with Trump, and then he talked about it in like it was normal. He normalized Trump because if you just sit down with Trump, he's just a regular old guy. Yeah, most people are not ever going to have that opportunity. And he made Donald Trump seem just like, he's just a regular guy who's doing all this stuff for attention. You could totally do that and say whatever you want to say as a reality TV star, but when you're running the nation and you have the nuclear codes, some of that stuff can have lasting harm on the American political system and on democracy. And also, Bill Maher thought it was funny to criticize Barack Obama. And the way he did it in a satirical fashion, but he always remarked on Barack Obama's race. He called him President Blackula. Now, he did it to poke fun, but I thought it was in really, really poor taste. And Bill Maher is just an angry little short guy syndrome. Have you ever noticed that short men are the worst?
Yes.
X, you're not short, are you? How short?
I'm 6'2", 6'3" on a good day.
Oh, well, you're a tall fella. So you're always sitting down when I see you.
Yeah.
But short guys are the worst. And Bill Maher, he's a little small little thing, little petite little fella. some of the most angry men, because it's got to be rough to be a little short fella, because women don't like you, women look over you, and women don't want a little. Shout out to the short kings, but y'all are real angry. And I get it, because the world just kind of overlooks you. I think they even said in the history of presidents, the tallest candidate always wins, except for there's one time where it didn't happen. John Kerry lost to George W. Bush, but because John Kerry was taller. We always have tall presidents. Like Abraham Lincoln was unheard of how tall he was back in the day, 6-something. But yeah, tall men, they say there's a study that was done. Tall men get better promotions. They make more money. They usually have more professional status just based on height. Oh, it's crazy. So I feel bad for little short fellas. And Bill Maher, he is a little itty bitty fella. Like if he got a normal sized woman, she'd probably push him around in a stroller. Like he's just a little cute little fella, and he's very angry and very mad. But I don't like some of his racial proclivities. He's also one of those that thinks that racism is over, and which is crazy for a liberal, because they're usually the ones that can identify it and talk about it. Now, they don't do anything to change it. But he's one of those liberals that think, oh, shut up complaining, blacks. You've been president before. No, all of us have not been president. Only one person was. So he just doesn't really, I don't know, he doesn't do it for me. All right, take a break, come back. We're going to give away some tickets, everybody, soon. The Sounds of Gospel is coming to the Bradley Symphony Center this Sunday, February 22nd at 3 p.m. It's a powerful anthology that takes you on a musical journey through the rich history and evolution of gospel music, featuring some of the greatest gospel voices in the country. So stay tuned. We're going to give away a pair of tickets to see The Sounds of Gospel this Sunday, February 22nd at 3 p.m. You're listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 101.7 FM. I'll be back shortly.
Don't touch that dial. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 101.7thetruth.com.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Ford Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityfordcollective.org. That's cityfordcollective.org.
Life's better with American Family Insurance, because we know you love working weekends, if it means working on your dream home, both inside and out. And we're here to help protect those dreams so you can enjoy peace of mind. Save up to 40% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products, pricing, and availability vary based on where you purchase insurance and by state. Some exclusions apply. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating companies, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Real talent is defined by what people can do, not where they learn to do it. So by stopping at the education section of a resume, you might throw away the perfect hire. You might miss someone who has valuable skills to offer to help your business thrive right now and in the future. Because the truth is this: Skills First Hiring helps you see talent others miss, like more than 70 million stars, skilled through alternative routes. When you let their story unfold, you gain a competitive advantage, because hiring managers who start with skills are 60% more likely to find a successful hire. See the real person, complete. See what others miss. Hire skills first. Learn why it's a competitive advantage at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
He's the voice for the people and the community's connection to change.
Sometimes justice looks different to me. Do you want them in jail for murdering Corey Stingley? Yes, you do. Do you want them to go to trial for what they did and go through that process? Hey, you know. But at the end of the day, the men that took Corey Stingley's life, something happened to where they have to accept the fact that they did that and that they have to be labeled a murderer for a certain length of time and when it was nothing, I think that was a huge thing that happened when you had to climb mountains to get to this point. 13 years?
The Tory Lowe Show, weekdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Live on YouTube and right here on 101.7 The Truth. More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 101.7 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
If you've been thinking about purchasing a home, well, let me talk to you about Axe Housing. It's possible. You can work with an Axe Housing coach. They'll put together a plan and a budget for you. They'll even help you repair your credit. An Axe Housing coach will help you with that plan, create that budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying a lot less than what they're paying for rent, which is always good news. Don't let where you are today stop your families tomorrow. Start your journey at axhousing.org. That is ACTS housing.org. Your legacy begins at home. I know I'd have to clear this up at some point. Who was the person that just said it? Lady B says, I can't believe Sherwin is an atheist. If I look at things logically and practically, which I have to because of what I do for a living, I can't just often indulge in pure emotion and make the backbone of my content be emotion. Jesus don't love black people because he kept us in slavery for a long time. Everybody else been living real good. Everybody else has their heaven on earth. They get whatever they want right now. They got money right now. They got buildings and property right now. They got businesses right now and millions and billions of dollars right now. They're not held accountable when they break the law right now. We got to die to get our heaven. I don't like that. I don't like that we have to endure a lifetime of suffering and we just hope that if we suffered hard enough and begged and prayed hard enough, then maybe, just maybe when we die, we get to heaven. I don't like them odds, but everybody else got their heaven here. Remember, we live in a system that is not designed to prevent anybody's harm. It promotes surviving it. I hope that makes sense. You know that there are ways that we can create a curriculum where boys don't grow up to be monsters, that we can have things in the education system of this country where boys can grow up to be decent, strong, hardworking human beings that protect women and protect people and protect society at all costs, but we don't do that. What we do is we allow for harm, but then we celebrate you for being a survivor. Yay, you're a survivor. The poverty that we have is not because we can't feed hungry people. The poverty that we have is because rich people are never satisfied. They will take a meal out of your mouth even though they are already full. They want everything. They want to control everything. They want all the money. They want all the resources. They will rip you off for rent because they can. Now, not all rich people, but I'm just talking about the system, because within a system that platforms and celebrates illegality and corruption, you're always going to find good people. Always, always, always. And I reject the notion that just because someone has a lot of money that they are inherently bad, because there are inherently bad people that are broke and always will be. They're morally bankrupt and they're financially bankrupt. But then there are people that have a bunch of money that they can be morally bankrupt too. But then sometimes people with money are morally, they're angels because they help a lot of people and give a lot of money away. So there's no direct correlation, and that's a horrible generalization to make because somebody is very wealthy that they're an evil and horrible person. There happen to be people that are very, very wealthy that also happen to be really, really bad, disgusting, immoral people that do awful things to folks. The opposite, and I got to keep saying it because eventually it'll click, it'll make sense to people. The opposite of poverty is not wealth. The opposite of poverty is justice. And justice is conditional on how insulated you are with status and with money. It's why the people in the Epstein files are not really going to be held to account. Jeffrey just pushed the upper limits of how far you can go when you are that insulated, when you are that wealthy. And I don't even think it had anything to do with what he was doing with children and how he was harming girls. He just messed with the wrong one and they killed him. That's my theory. It'll never be proven because I'll never have access to the honesty and the facts and the truth. But if they allowed that to persist, because the Department of Justice, through several different presidents, they've known about all this stuff, but they did a cost-benefit analysis, and they figured, well, if we prosecute all these people, like whole systems will fail and governments will fail. We can't prosecute Bill Gates and take away all the Microsoft computing contracts and server contracts with every level of government. So we got to let Bill Gates just do his thing because we weighed the cost of it. Here's another thing about the federal government. If they can't get a conviction, they won't even pursue the case. Now, a lot of people think that if the federal government, the Department of Justice, doesn't pursue a conviction, it means that somebody is innocent. No, it just means the Department of Justice has got to weigh the costs and the benefits of it. It may cost them $35 million in taxpayer money, and there's no guarantee they're going to get a conviction of this very wealthy person because they may have judges in their pocket, they may have the grand jury in their pocket, or they may be connected to some international money laundering scheme that funnels money to Democrats and Republicans. So they may not bring charges or impanel a grand jury against a really, really horrible person if they're not 100% sure that they can get a conviction. And here's something else about the Department of Justice that we should know. Their conviction rate is like 97, 98%. And it's 97 to 98% because they only pursue cases where the defendants don't really have much of a chance. Usually defendants that are poor, that are black, that are indigent, etc. And so if there's not going to be very much accountability, or not the kind of accountability that we would expect if like a regular person was trafficking kids. Jeffrey Epstein was a pimp. You know how many pimps we all know collectively that are in prison for 20 and 30 years for human sex trafficking? And here's what's crazy. Some of those girls got into pimping and wanted to pimp. They chose it. No, not all of them. I know. But also, some of y'all think that all strippers are forced to strip. No woman ever wants to strip. You'd be surprised at how many women enjoy it. Enjoy both going and also being an exotic dancer. But there's a cohort of people that think like, oh, all those strippers are for it. No, the hell they're not. It's some women like, yo, I love this. I'm like, no, you don't, woman. You can't possibly love this. Who's trafficking you? She was like, I'm trafficking myself. I love stripping. Shut up, woman. You can't strip. And then you become like an anti-feminist. The strongest feminists I know are, in fact, strippers that are choosing to monetize their bodies. They can do it. They can not do it. But it's her choice to do it. So who am I or anybody else to say, stop it. You can't be a stripper because blah, blah, blah. That's her choice. And sometimes, I know this sounds crazy, women make choices that other people may disagree with. I know that's a revelation. If they let the people in the Epstein files escape accountability, think about what else they're hiding. Think about what else is going on right now where the Department of Justice said, yeah, we'd love to prosecute these people, but the system would collapse. Or if we reveal the names of certain people, because you know that the perpetrators had their names redacted and not the victims. That's as backwards as you can possibly get. You're supposed to shield the victims because now the news media is all over them. They have to relive the trauma of what they endured. But we don't care about the girls. We literally don't, because if we did, there would be prosecutions. The Epstein files expose the upper limit of accountability, how far rich people can go and not get in any trouble. I'm also keeping my finger on the pulse of the kidnapping of Savannah Guthrie's mother. Savannah Guthrie did a news story interviewing several Jeffrey Epstein victims. I don't know where that story is. I know bits and pieces of it have been released. But don't you just find it odd? And here's what's crazy. And Trump did comment on this. He's like, oh, yeah, whatever federal resources local law enforcement in Arizona needs to find the person that kidnapped Susan Guthrie, they can have. And I believe that because they've shown a lot of the federal agents. You mean to tell me that they have no suspects and they have no leads after 3 weeks with the full weight of local law enforcement, all the Ring cameras that are around, even a technology in which you can monitor the electric signal given off from this woman's pacemaker, and it's a sophisticated cryptocurrency scam? That was either some really, really smart criminals, so smart the FBI should already know who the hell they are, or it's an inside job. I don't know. You be the judge. Why don't we give away some tickets?
Have you ever seen Cash Patel?
Many times. He's not. He's just a figurehead. He doesn't. And then Dan Bongino, I think, who was a previous deputy director of the FBI, who was a Fox News or a blogger or something. They're not supposed to be qualified in law enforcement. They're just supposed to do something on behalf of Donald Trump. In celebration of Black History Month, ladies and gentlemen, the Sounds of Gospel is coming to the Bradley Symphony Center this Sunday, February 22nd at 3 p.m. You can go right after church. This powerful anthology takes you on a musical journey through the rich history and evolution of gospel music, featuring some of the greatest gospel voices in the country. Now is your chance to win a pair of tickets to see the Sounds of Gospel live at the Bradley Symphony Center. Call 833-212-1017. We'll take call number 5 at 833-212-1017 to win a pair of tickets to the Sounds of Gospel at the Bradley Symphony Center this Sunday at 3 p.m. If you'd like to purchase tickets, you can visit MSO/concerts to purchase. MSO.org/concerts to purchase. Concerts are often held at the Bradley Symphony Center, and they're a lot of fun because I've been to many of them. Call number 5 gets a pair of tickets to the Sounds of Gospel this Sunday, February 22nd at 3 p.m. The Truth with Sherwin Hughes will be right back.
You are listening to The Truth with Sherwin Hughes on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
Listen Fridays to Truth in the Afternoon with Dr. Ken Harris during Black History Month for Dr. Ken's Trivia. It's not just questions, it's culture. Facts they don't teach you, and a few stories that matter. We'll test what you know and teach each other something new along the way. Lock in your Fridays in February. Be ready to call in and bring your brain with you. Dr. Ken's Trivia, Friday in February on Truth in the Afternoon with me, Dr. Ken Harris on 1017 The Truth, YouTube, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
In celebration of Black History Month, it's coming to Milwaukee for one amazing performance. The Sounds of Gospel Music. February 22nd at 3 p.m. at Brady Symphony Center. The anthology depicting the rich history of the evolution of gospel music. The Sounds of Gospel. Featuring some of the greatest gospel singers in the country. Tickets on sale now at mso.org/concert/The Sound of Gospel. Presented by Second Chance Outreach.
Hi, this is Sherwin Hughes from 1017 The Truth, and I want to talk to you about something bigger than just buying a house. I'm talking about building a legacy. Owning a home isn't just about 4 walls and a roof. It's about giving your kids a place where memories are made, where birthdays are celebrated, and where they always belong. It's about planting roots, knowing your neighbors, waving from the porch, and being a part of a community that feels like family. If you've been renting and wondering if home ownership is even possible, Axe Housing is here to work with you. An Axe Housing coach will help you create a plan, a budget, and move step by step toward owning a place you can truly call your own. They've already helped over 4,000 families become homeowners, and many are paying less than they were paying for rent. Don't let where you are today stop your family's tomorrow. Start your journey at axehousing.org. That is ACTShousing.org. Your legacy begins at home.
More of The Truth with Sherwin Hughes is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
The award-winning 1017 The Truth proudly celebrates Black excellence and the most monumental moments in our history. All month, we're honoring the voices, the stories, and the achievements that have shaped our past, empowered our present, and continue to inspire our future. Tune in for Dr. Ken's Trivia, spotlighting powerful facts and moments you need to know. And, of course, Tori Lowe's Our Voices, Our Stories segments, amplifying our youth, perspectives, and lived experiences that define who we are. Black history is happening every single day. 1017 The Truth celebration of Black History Month is sponsored by both Educators Credit Union and Tayback Law. Oh, let's talk to one of our very good friends. Oh, who won the tickets, Xavier? Who the lucky winner going to see some gospels?
A gentleman named Brian.
Shout out to Brian. Brian gonna be up there clapping and catching the Holy Ghost and probably speaking in tongues. Let's talk to someone who also may speak in tongues. I don't know. Hey, Sandra. Hey, now. How you doing?
Hi, Sherwin. I'm fine. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, you're speaking in tongues.
Shamalama. Shamalama.
Hey, Sherwin, I went to a sanctified church. You weren't supposed to do that.
I'm sorry. You don't still go, do you?
No, that's all right. No,
Nope,
just
exactly.
off and on. Not like I should.
No.
Sometimes I kind of feel. No, I'm just gonna say. Sometimes I kind of feel like Al. You know, they go, they be on their knees, they pray, and you still don't get no jest. But what I actually called for, you were speaking about the prison system and all of that, and I've said it before. My son died in prison last year, and they found him on the floor dead, and he did 22 years, but he got 60. And so, that was bounced around from solitary confinement to supermax. I mean, one man. Now, how can one man be, with all of these guards, one man could be put through all of this scenario here? And, I went to meetings that they had, but it's always like everybody's scared like they are with Trump.
How did he die?
They're afraid
Son,
to come
if you don't
forward.
mind me asking, what did the autopsy reveal as your son's cause of death? And I'm very sorry for your loss.
Yeah, I'm sorry for yours, too. I know you spoke about your dad, too, and I know you understand real well. But I don't know, something like a heart attack.
Okay.
But see, he had been in jail so long, and they had him in the hospital. They called me from the hospital, and they said he's not going to take the medicine. And he said right there he's not going to take that medicine because he had been in jail so long, and it's like back and forth. He was up in Battledells. They got a prison up there. Then he's up in Green Bay. Then he was in the mental hospital. It's just like you got one man, you're sending them through a whole scenario of this and that, but you get Slender Man girls, they get to say they're crazy. And then where's Alexis Patterson? They never found her. I never heard anywhere where they found Alexis. You know, the system is so unjust, and then you got this mess up in the White House, messing with people's children. Where are the parents? Where are those young kids' parents? Well, I mean, I'm sitting up here, I have to listen to this, which is okay, because I talk about it, too. And I've been, like I said, I've been to meetings. And my husband was a civil rights activist. And so we sit there, we go, we pray, we everything, but we still get messed over. And then the church people sit and pray all the time, like when the kids got shot up at school. It used to be constant prayers. You don't hear that no more, do you?
No, you don't. You do not.
No, that's what it was. And so, I mean, it's wrong. You got people super rich, they can buy their way through. And then we're still on the chopping blocks. We haven't seen nothing yet.
We've never been off the chopping block.
I just call you today.
All right, but I appreciate your call, Sandra, and I love your...
okay, that's what I called to tell you. Yeah.
Your gripes
okay,
are legitimate. Have a good weekend. Something happened where I think okay, so Black progress is already accounted for and built into the system because we got to believe in it a little bit. We have to point to examples of Black wealth and Black power, even Black political power, so that more and more Black people believe in the system that still enslaved us. So oppression looks different. It's more covert. It's more expansive. Now, oppression will hire Black people and pay Black people in order to use and manipulate those Black people to get more Black people to spend their money. Does that make sense to you? So when I was at the previous 101.7, not this one, previous one, I worked for some really, really awful people. Really, really just terrible. And they eventually got out of the broadcasting business altogether because they weren't long for this world being bad people. The expectation was they were going to bring myself and Earl Ingram to broadcast on their frequency, on their radio station. And it was basically this. Well, you guys are Black. You should bring all the Black businesses with you because you're Black. Why aren't you guys bringing every single Black business? Why isn't and they would get mad at us. They had zero plans, zero outreach, zero understanding of the African-American community, our consumer habits. They don't know anything about, how African-Americans prefer to purchase and how branding impacts us. Literally knew none of that, but they didn't have to know any of that because they're going to hire these two N-words to broadcast. And when we have what do we have you N-words for if you're not going to bring us all of the Black money from all of the Black businesses wanting to throw money on your radio shows. And what I had to explain to them, because you got to talk to them like they're children, right? I was like, black people are not just going to invest in black businesses, are not just going to put money here because I'm black and because Earl is black. They will be investing in the entire platform and all of the shows. And I use much more soft language when I said this, but I was like, the other shows suck. They're horrible. They provide nothing. They provide no value. They provide no useful information. It's just a bunch of people that never should have had microphones in front of their faces that think that they're a lot better than they are. Because you gave them a microphone, you gave them a platform. They didn't like hearing that. And of course, what happened to me, right? You know what happened to me. But it's a common story, and I don't know if white people just talk to each other more, they would realize that they're saying the exact same thing to us. To be black in this city is to have heard the same thing from white folks over and over and over again. It's almost like when you have that conversation with that girl, and she says, "Oh my God, I never do this. Oh my God, why are you getting me to do this? I never do this. I never do this on a first date." Ladies, have a conversation with each other and realize that all of you that do this on a first date always say that you don't. It's very similar. And then us as guys, how do we respond? "Wow, I feel special. Oh my, how lucky I am." She's like, "I know. I don't do this ever." "Oh, wow." And then we say something else like, "I don't either." It's the same. It's so bad, y'all. And it's also why I think some of us might believe in the system, because you have to be able to point to black progress, because if we haven't moved the needle a little bit, then we would be more galvanized in our anger of the system. But you have to have internal conflict, right? You have to have racial conflict. Like poor white people, you're in the same boat as poor black people are. But because of your race, you think you're better and you're going to advance a little bit further. No. In fact, the institution of slavery has undermined white economic progress. Because if a slave master can buy the slave and use them for all of the labor, why would they pay a white person a wage? Think about that. White people should have hated the institution of slavery more than anybody else. White people should have fought, especially in the South, for the freedom of the slaves and then formed powerful labor unions with black slaves. That's the other thing. When we were freed and we went north because black men and black boys were forced and required to work in the trades, we weren't just all picking cotton. There's times of the year where there's no cotton in the field. So what do you think slaves were doing? On vacation? No. We were blacksmiths and we were shoeing horses. We were building barns, building houses. We were building roads. We had skilled trades. And so when we were freed, where do we go? We went north for two reasons. One, to find members of our family we had been separated from. That was our primary reason for going north. But also there was industrial employment that could benefit from our trade experience, because slaves were tradesmen and tradeswomen. We had a variety of skills. And because we oftentimes, as freed black folk, were more skilled, because a black boy started shoeing horses when he was 10. So by the time he was 30, he could do it in his sleep. He was very experienced, you see. So when we moved north and tried to get jobs at mills and be blacksmiths, they created closed-shopped unions to keep black skilled labor out, because we were better and more skilled than the white men that were working in some of those industries. Instead, what white people should have done, if they didn't believe in the indoctrination of race, is formed unions with us, with all of the black people, and we had our chance to overpower the system then, and we didn't do it. Thank you for listening, and shout out to Brian for winning his pair of tickets to the gospel show this Sunday. Have a great weekend. I'll see you next time.
Need a way to hype up your day?
Hello, is this Shirley?
This is she.
Shirley, you are our Gruber 5K giveaway winner this quarter. Congratulations.